So we'll see. We'll see. As I say, we'll talk about that later on in the show in much more detail. In the Inish Times this morning, 5 Carndonna families living in houses leased by Donegal County Council who have been suffering gross anxiety after being told they would have to move out before Christmas have been given a reprieve. The families, including several children of school-going age who live in houses in Cherry Avenue, received letters in October from the council telling them that the long-term lease was due to expire today after the owner informed them the council was leasing. The council informed the council the leasing agreement would not be extended. On to the Donegal Post this morning. Children among those left freezing at airport as late-night bus doesn't come. The Bus Éireann 30x30 route from Dublin to Donegal town has been notorious for no-shows over the last year, but leaving passengers stranded at the airport at 11 p.m. on such a cold night with no explanation at the time has led to much outrage among those affected. Bus Éireann has since said there were mechanical issues with the bus. Evelyn McGlynn and her business partner Meg O'Gara were among those left out in the cold on Sunday evening. They took to Twitter through the Dublin Donegal Mammy account in an effort to find out what was happening and to express their frustration. Let's go to the Irish Times this morning and back to referencing these new planning laws. The Green Party is set to seek changes to Minister for Housing Darragh O'Brien's landmark planning bill after divisions emerge in government over a key plank of the reforms. It's understood that 2 Green ministers, Catherine Martin and Roderick O'Gorman, raised concerns at Cabinet yesterday over aspects of the bill focused on reform of the judicial review process. Under the draft legislation, the scope for the judicial reviews of planning decisions is to be narrowed in an effort to streamline the planning system, which critics say sees projects bogged down for years in courtroom challenges. And sometimes really, and as I say, I'm only learning a bit about this as we go, but sometimes you have to look at who's welcoming a move and who's objecting to it. You know, those with an interest in the environment, proper planning, they seem somewhat concerned about this. Those who are interested in getting houses up as quick as possible seem to be welcoming in it. So I'm not sure, as I say, we'll have to tease it out. This is one of those issues that will go through pre-legislative scrutiny. It's understood that both ministers highlighted the need for amendments around access to justice and public participation in decision-making, thought to be centred on the reforms through judicial review. A government guide to the legislation outlined that objectors would have to demonstrate the project affected them, while groups such as residents' associations would be curtailed from taking challenges. Now, in terms of objectors having to demonstrate the project would affect them, maybe there could be some advantage to that, because I have seen myself as someone who'd go through planning applications that often it was people from very, very far away that might be able to object. Maybe that is not useful. To ban groups of residents, presumably then individually they could take their concerns to the planning authority. Would that not be more complicated? You'd have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis. Well, although individual members could take a judicial review of a planning decision, which, as I say, a group couldn't. Environmental NGOs will have to meet certain criteria in relation to its establishment and its purpose to have standing to take judicial review. But I'll tell you, I'm very keen because it's an important issue, particularly in this county, but not particularly, but it is in this county. And I think we know before they decide, it'd be great if we all had a far clearer understanding of the situation. Petrol prices have dropped sharply and are now at their lowest level in more than a year, in a rare piece of good news for consumers battling the cost of living crisis. Meanwhile, diesel prices have dropped to their lowest level since Russia invaded Ukraine in February. Diesel prices have fallen by 22 cents in the last month alone, a drop of 11%, according to the latest AA Fuel survey. The average price for a litre of diesel is now €1.74. That's a cross-country. That's a cross-country average, of course. Petrol prices are down almost 10% in the last month, with a drop in pump prices at 17 cents. They are now at their lowest since September 2021, with a litre costing on average €1.60. But listening to those who bet on such things, that are looking forward to oil prices going up, they seem to think that commodities, which they are going to go up next year again, which means obviously the cost of petrol and diesel would follow. But I suppose, look, let's if we can get any Any bits of good news, then perhaps that's a good thing. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and teacher Enoch Burke has begged a court to release him from prison for Christmas, but has refused to purchase contempt. The evangelic Christian was addressing the High Court via a video link from Mountjoy Prison in Dublin, where he has been incarcerated since September. "I'm not a thief, a murderer or a drug dealer," he said. "I am a person because I refused to leave the school where I work after I was suspended solely on accounts of my religious beliefs. I appealed to this court today," he said. "I have absolutely no desire to be in prison. I beg of the court to free me from this prison. It is Christmas time when we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is perhaps the main religious belief around the world, and that the issue that is in the court's hands is that I am in prison because of my religious beliefs," he said. He had been raised to respect the law and that he was not a lawbreaker. But of course, if you are not adhering to a court order, of course, if one person were allowed to out of prison for ignoring a court order, they could say that, well, everyone could be. But anyway, I know that's a hot topic for an awful lot of people out there, but it looks like he's spending Christmas behind bars. Let us go to the Irish Daily Star this morning. Micheál Martin was serenaded with Elvis Presley tributes during his final Dáil session as Taoiseach yesterday. However, the Fianna Fáil leader was quickly brought back down to earth as he was told he's more like Daniel O'Donnell than the blue suede shoes crooner. I'm not sure what's Daniel O'Donnell. Daniel O'Donnell's views on that. Well, Mr. Martin and Tánaiste Leo Varadkar will swap roles on Saturday as part of the historic coalition agreement between Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and the Green Party. The Taoiseach will travel to Brussels today, meaning that yesterday was his last day in the Dáil chamber. There were giddy final day of school vibes in the chamber. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald kicked off the tributes. "Before I put my questions to the Taoiseach, I wish him and the very best for the future, whatever that might bring," she said. On to the Sun this morning, and households could be battling with sky-high electricity and gas bills for 2 more years. The warning comes as the government signed off on a €10 million rescue fund to help families pay for energy. Energy Minister Eamon Ryan made the shock revelation while launching the coalition's new Energy Poverty Action Plan. People who are struggling with bills can get in touch with their energy provider or call St Vincent de Paul alone or the Money Advice and Budgeting Services. They will then be directed to hardship funds, which have now an extra $10 million to help people survive the winter. Green Party leader Ryan said 200,000 people are currently in arrears on their energy bills, excluding those on pay-as-you-go meters. So really, it seems the system going forward, and maybe it's not a bad thing, that if you are struggling to heat your home, there is a fund there for you, but you have to contact one of the agencies as follows. Your energy provider, St Vincent de Paul alone, or the Money Advice and Budgetary Services, and they will be able to direct you towards this €10 million fund designed to ease the burdens, I would imagine. Finally, on to the Mirror this morning. New Zealand, what do you think about this? Is this something that could work here? The way I would view it, it's like, legacy smokers would be able to just carry on buying their cigarettes if they so wish. They'd have to face the cost, of course, and the increasing cost. But no new people would ever be able to smoke, or would be discouraged or by law not able to smoke. So in other words, if you enjoy your cigarette and you enjoy your right to smoke, but you feel that all the talk of banning cigarettes is encroaching on your rights, would you though say, right, well, I can do it, but I would support legislation that means that anyone born now would never be able to purchase cigarettes? Would you be in favour of that? That seems to be what's happening in New Zealand, because yesterday it passed into law a unique plan to phase out tobacco smoking by imposing a lifetime ban on young people buying cigarettes. The new law states that tobacco cannot ever be sold to anyone who was born on or after January 1st, 2009. It means the minimum age for buying cigarettes will keep going up and up. So, in other words, if you're a smoker now, you'll be able to smoke till you're literally blue in the face, or until you meet your maker. But no one else would ever be able to start smoking again legally. Now, of course, they'd be able to acquire cigarettes, and that always happens. So in other words, the legal age to smoke might be 18 now, would be 19 next year, 21, 22 and so on and so forth. Well, in theory, someone trying to buy a pack of cigarettes 50 years from now would need ID to show they were at least 63-year-olds. But health authorities in the country hope smoking will fade away well before then and have a stated goal of making New Zealand smoke-free by 2025. OK, so what do you think of those? That is a suggestion. It's something very different. I've never heard the likes of it before. 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts to that number. Rightio. Let us, before we go to a break and then line up our first guest for you, let's look at our competition today, thanks to our friends at McGee's Pharmacy. This week on the 9 till noon show, we've got a hamper from McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny worth over €500 to be won. We'll have 5 daily qualifiers in the draw on Friday. Each of you will win a great prize throughout the course of the week. The overall prize contains, amongst other things, a Lancome Christmas hamper, a Be Perfect Iconic Essentials set, a bottle of Victor and Rolf Flower Bomb EDP spray, and so much more besides. Right, and just to remind you, by the way, that McGee's Chemist transform bare walls with personalised photo canvases. Canvas prints are made ready to hang. It's a 7-day service. So if you want to be in with a chance to win today's prize, which is a Marc Jacobs Perfect EDP spray, answer this simple question. What is December 26th called here in Ireland? Traditionally, people of different backgrounds call it different things. It's a funny question, this one, but anyway. After which saint, shall we put it like this? After which saint is December 26th called? After which saint is September 26th called? Just in case that makes it a little bit more clearer. Send your send your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000. Text to WhatsApp your your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000. Right now, SMS or WhatsApp, it's free for you. You can win today a Marc Jacobs Perfect EDP spray, or on Friday, you could also be with a chance of winning that McGee's Chemist hamper worth over €500.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with a great range of digital cameras, camcorders and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
While everyone's obsessing about the Christmas season, you've got a different season on your mind. One where red noses come from shouting your support in the crisp, cold, pitchside air. Where the roaring fire is in your belly, not your sitting room. And the perfect gift is an unexpected win. Don't miss a moment with a GAA season ticket. A gift for yourself or the fan in your life. Available at gaa.ie/season ticket. Are you in? The GAA, where we all belong.
Auctioneers, estate agents, letting agents and property management agents operating in the Republic of Ireland must hold a Property Services Regulatory Authority PSRA licence. An auctioneer may auction land, fine arts, antiques or animals at a mart. When engaging an agent, don't assume your agent is licensed. Check the PSRA Register of Licensed Agents at psr.ie. Unlicensed agents are breaking the law. Report unlicensed operators to info@psr.ie. Remember, no PSRA licence, no PSRA consumer protection.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Hi there, David James here, inviting you to join myself and my band on St Stephen's Night, Monday the 26th of December, for a great night of dancing in the Ingraining Hotel in Burt. Doors open at 9 with dancing from 9:30. Our special guest on the night is Sinead Black. Why not make a night of it? B&B only $59.50 per person sharing. We'll see you on St Stephen's Night.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €8.5 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Join Marty Friel this and every Friday night from 8 till 10 p.m. with Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. Make someone's Christmas with an Arena 7 gift card, which can be used right across the complex. See arena7.ie.
For all your home heating needs, oil, gas and solid fuels. National Fuels, Pierce Road, Letterkenny. 9137400. National Fuels, bringing you the time at...
OK, the time's 21 minutes past 9. We're joined on the programme now by Brian Connolly, Bus Éireann Senior Operation Manager for the West. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Right, OK. I think we've all seen this, although apparently only 1 in 4 drivers admit to blocking bus stops. This, as your company and the National Transport Authority ask motorists to keep it clear. I think there might be an under-admittance there. So talk to us about what the problem is and how extensive your company believe it to be.
Sure. Thanks, Greg. As you mentioned there, we've launched a Keep It Clear campaign in conjunction with the National Transport Authority. And I suppose it's to encourage motorists not to park at stops and to raise awareness about the issues that it can cause for both our customers and our drivers. It has a negative impact, I suppose. Our vehicles need to get as close to the curbside as possible for our low-floor vehicles in particular. To aid with people with disabilities or limited mobility or people wanting to bring a buggy on board bus. It's essential that the vehicle can get as close to the curbside as possible. But as you mentioned there, following on from a survey we carried out with ISPOS amongst 1,000 people across the country, 1 in 4, as you say, admit to parking in designated bus stops. And that may well be to pick up or drop off passengers. Some of them do it to take a phone call or in extreme cases, but when they find nowhere else to park, they may park in the bus stop. But it does cause us severe issues in terms of our operation, both, as I say, from the customer perspective, but also if a bus has to wait. It causes issues from a punctuality point of view. It can also lead to blocking up the other traffic trying to use the road. And in extreme cases, we may even have to skip the bus stop, which is a difficulty, obviously, for our passengers. So we're just reminding motorists, part of the campaign, that pulling into a bus stop for any reason can be a significant issue for us. It's illegal, I suppose, and there is a fixed penalty fine of €80, which can be administered by the Gardaí or local traffic wardens and that. So that's the campaign we've launched this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose it depends from area to area. I mean, I'm thinking, let's say, for instance, in Donegal Town, I don't know if you're familiar with the setup there, but buses pick people up right smack bang in the middle of the town, outside 2 hotels, opposite a taxi rank, and in an area that has already limited parking. Sometimes maybe it's the location that lends itself to these spaces being abused by other motorists.
Yeah, and you mentioned Donegal Town there. It is a particular difficulty for us, particularly during the summer and that as well. But as I say, this campaign is to try and raise awareness of the issues that does create for bus transport operators when people park in the bus stops and the impact it can have. It's not just as simple as the bus not being able to get in there. There could be difficulties for the elderly, for people with disabilities and so on, but also for other road users if it ends up blocking up the traffic.
And I suppose if you were to sort of, and I'm not sure you have, but if you were to sort of try and calculate how many minutes a bus is late, or how it has an overall effect on the running of the service, it really might be quite worryingly significant right across the country.
Well, right, as you say, right across the country, it certainly is. I mean, in particular, our city services are heavily impacted, and we are measured on our punctuality by the National Transport Authority, and it can lead to financial penalties and that when services are outside a certain set of parameters in terms of punctuality. So, there are numerous impacts from people parking in bus stop areas that people just may not be aware of, and I suppose that's the purpose of this campaign is that it can have significant impact. Yeah,
and did you mention also there is a in terms of accessibility, people being able to access, in other words, where the bus stops, how close it is to the curb or a drop down on the curb or whatever it might be. That is, or people trying to load luggage and all that. I mean, it's not simply just the time of the bus or getting on and off the bus if you're able-bodied and travelling light.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the whole logistics around pick up and drop off. I suppose the vehicle does need to get as close to the curb as possible, both from the point of view of people boarding or alighting, but also, as you mentioned there, taking luggage off or putting luggage on. If people have to step off a curb or step onto the road or that, it does have safety issues there as well.
All right. And enforcement too. I mean, I'm not trying to pitch you against any other organisations, but I mean, you talk about it being illegal and that there are penalties for it. Is there enough enforcement?
Well, look, I suppose, like everything, the more enforcement you could have, the better, and probably the greater impact it would have on improving matters. But obviously, with limited resources and that, there's only so much that can be done. But again, it's just to raise awareness with people that there is a fixed penalty fine there. That is enforceable by local authorities and the Gardaí.
This is thank you very much for that, by the way. And we should all we all have to share these spaces, don't we? So I suppose we have to be as respectful as we can to each other. I don't know if you can comment on this. A caller, he's just turned 70. Working for a subcontractor for Bus Éireann, but because they're 70, they have to retire despite having all the medical requirements to drive. Obviously, they can drive for a private operator, but not for Bus Éireann or one of its subcontractors. Is that an issue that you're aware of, Brian? And is there a justification for it in your mind? Or if it's not your area, I respect that too.
Well, sure. Well, it isn't my area because I presume it's the school transport scheme that
I'd imagine so, yeah.
But all I can say there is there are guidelines and there are regulations in place and company policy that has been in place for a long, long time at this stage. It's under constant review. That's all I would say. And but as things stand at the moment, we abide by the guidelines and policy that's in situ at the moment. Okay, thanks for your time, Brian. Take care of yourself. That's Brian Connolly, Bus Éireann Senior Operations Manager. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that call, or to that number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. It is the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio this Wednesday morning, just 10 days to Christmas. Right, okay, let us take a short break whilst we get our next guest on the programme.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. See all the magic of Christmas with McGee's online photo lab. Open 24/7. Delivered to your door or collect in store.
Show your appreciation for Donegal business this Christmas with Buy Donegal. Visit buydonegal.com to see a host of participating businesses to start your shopping list. With a range of special offers and prize giveaways throughout, Buy Donegal has something for everyone. Buy Donegal takes place from November 11th to December 24th. For more, visit buydonegal.com.
This week in Home Store, all half price. Choose from our wide range of Christmas tree lights with over 100 different types and colours. Find just the right tree light for you from 20 to 2,000 bulbs, all half price. Like save $64.50 on our top-selling 2,000 warm white cluster lights. That's right, all our Christmas tree lights are all half price. But hurry, because when they're gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More, a happy home.
Mike Denver in concert with guests Brendan Shine and Philomena Begley at the Mount Eric Hotel, Letterkenny on January 6th and Millennium Forum Derry on March 18th. Tickets now on sale at both venues and ticketmaster.ie. That's Mike Denver with Philomena Begley and Brendan Shine in Letterkenny and Derry. The perfect Christmas gift.
Thursday the 17th of April 2014. My whole life was shattered and my heart was broken when my worst nightmare had been confirmed. Early Saturday, Kieran was brought to me on a stretcher. I tried to hold him on my best side with total disbelief. None of this made any sense. I spent that night with Kieran, talking to him and making the most of our final hours together. I didn't realise I would never see him again. The other driver was drunk.
A message from the Road Safety Authority.
In the LG price drop at Ben Sweeney Euronics, we have incredible value in all LG TVs. Like a 50-inch smart TV for only $399, a 65-inch for $599, and the massive 82-inch for $1,349. If you're looking for a TV that's a work of art, a big screen cinema, a portal to gaming worlds, or a front row seat to the biggest sporting events, you'll get amazing value right now at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre Dunlow.
Great news! Show Tours have released a limited number of tickets priced at €30 for the Joe Dolan Remembering Joe Cabaret Show at the Allingham Arms Hotel, Bundoran this Friday night. The hotel is offering special accommodation rates to help take away those travel worries. Call the Allingham Arms on 071 9841 or book online at showtours.ie.
Okay, joined on the programme now by Frank Dillon, Head of Communications and Funding with Alone. Good morning to you, Frank. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks very much for having me, and good morning to the listeners.
Right, okay. Now, you've a message for older people, society in general. I think particularly at this time with the challenges, of course, of the cost of living, but also that being complicated directly and indirectly by this spell of weather as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Greg. We're asking people in this extreme weather, as you mentioned, just to engage the community spirit and sort of check in on older people. And it's a simple thing. We're just asking people to say hello. A lot of older people, they know how to cope with this cold weather. It's not their first winter, but sometimes a helping hello and just a smile and a face just to see if they need anything, if there's anything that can be done with regards, especially when the paths aren't great. I mean, obviously the issues differ between rural and urban settings, but footpaths and clearing areas just so people can reduce the risk of falls, which can be quite serious.
And in terms of advice directly for older people, because if you switch on the radio, we try and being balanced and fair and informed but not scare on this programme. But, you know, wherever you turn, you'd be forgiven for thinking, you know, things are so dire, you shouldn't do anything, you shouldn't switch the heating on, you shouldn't leave the house.
No, and that's what we're saying. Like organisations like Alone and other organisations are there to support. We're saying keep the heating on, keep the rooms warm. Heating isn't a comfort issue for older people, it's a health issue. And we're saying, look, we can work out the supports through ourselves, through MABs, through any other organisations. We can advocate on the behalf when the bills come in. But it's very much the priority at the moment is just staying warm, keeping, especially if there's any underlying conditions in the home, eat and drink hot food and beverages as much as possible. You know, layer up and try and get some fresh air too, because it's I know it's hard, but just watch the footpaths outside. So if you are stepping out, that, you know, you're not going to lose footing and the black ice is around. But yeah, we're encouraging people to, you know, do a bit of exercise during the day if they can.
And don't be afraid to pick up the phone and contact someone if you need something.
That's it. Like, just asking. Like, don't run short of medicine because you can't get out. People are more than willing to help, and we found that all through the COVID and the pandemic. But sometimes they might need a little nudge, and so we're just asking for the nudge on both sides for people to sort of check in with people in their area, but also maybe, as you say, older people just to pick up the phone and ask, and even call ourselves, and we can coordinate something for them.
You have made in the press release a specific reference to electric blankets.
Yeah, we're just warning people, just watch out with the electric blankets if there's any sign of wear and tear to replace them, because they can be a bit of a fire risk. Again, not to alarm anyone, but it's just worth having a check over it and replacing it if possible, or give us a call and we'll see if we can replace it for them.
Now, what role does Alone have in this €10 million announcement by the government yesterday as it relates to help people who might need assistance with energy bills? I just read in the paper today, it doesn't seem like the government actively seeking people out. They're inviting people to ring the likes of yourselves. Do you know what the process is there or what's happening?
Well, we don't as yet. It just got announced yesterday afternoon, and we're still seeking clarification. But at the moment, as it exists, we have direct relationships with some of the bigger energy companies, and we can advocate on people's behalf for credits, for relief, for, you know, just to work on their behalf in relation to the energy companies and see what we can do there. And then we're waiting to see how this fund is distributed, because obviously the relationships with the electric companies and gas companies don't really come into people who are reliant on oil or pay-as-you-go customers. So we're trying to work that out this morning.
Yeah, so it was announced really before it's been worked out.
We just haven't got the details through from the department.
All right, okay. Thanks for your time. What's the contact for a loan, Frank? The general contact if people need some assistance? Or
Thanks, Greg. It's 0818 222 024, and that number's on 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 0818 222 024.
All right, listen, thanks for your time this morning. Take care. Frank, thank you. Frank Dillon there. I just want to let you know, by the way, we were giving away a copy of Michael Sugrew's great new book. It's 200 of his photographs showcasing perspectives of Donegal. He did it in collaboration with a number of Donegal poets, of course, and income raised from Hidden Donegal. It's beautifully striking in black. Will aid Donegal Hospice, Donegal Clinical Research Academy and Breast Centre Northwest Research. And it's available in a number of venues and places right across the county. But we gave away a copy on Instagram yesterday. And the winner of that book was Linda Teresa at My Hearts in Situate. We've contacted you via your DMs, so just double check that to make sure. But congratulations, you've won it, and you'll enjoy it too. It's a nice thing. Right, we're going to be going to Rathmullen after we take this break. Oh, actually, we're not going to. We can go almost straight to Rathmullen. I beg your pardon. I have got my timings mixed up there. This government has lost the run of themselves, says a caller. Compulsory purchase of farmland, as in the Netherlands, is their next move. It's all about looking after their buddies in business. We need planning for all, not a select few, says this listener. All planning decisions will end up in the European courts if this new planning bill is passed. A caller from Crawley says, I'm travelling towards Falcarra via Gortal Hawk and I've just had to turn back. I'm shaking with the fear of how dangerous our roads are. Why are our roads not better gritted? That's me home and the loss of a day's pay. Strange weather, of course. Very, very cold. Castledurg and Ballyshannon, the two coldest parts of Ireland this morning, -8 and -9 and -8 respectively. Very, very cold in Malin-Head. Very, very cold in Buncrana at 4 or 5 degrees, but extra cold, but -4 or 5 degrees, but not so cold in Malin-Head at 5 degrees, a 9-degree swing on the peninsula. But as I say, road temperatures are still 0 or below, so you will have to exercise care out there. Right, let us say good morning now to Mick McGlynn, I beg your pardon, from Rathmullen, the Way Forward Support Group. Good morning to you, Mick. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you keeping?
I'm not too bad, thanks. It's a nice, bright, sunny morning here in Rathmullen. Good place to be.
Always is, isn't it? No matter the weather, says you. Okay.
Yeah,
right, okay. So in terms of the future for Rathmullen, things have taken a step forward in the right direction, haven't they? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Greg, on the 24th of November, Donegal County Council, in partnership with Rathmullen, the Way Forward, we gave notice in the local newspapers that we were applying for planning permission for a new development here in Rathmullen. It all began about 5 years ago, and I was interested there in listening to your comments and news about the planning nationally, but it took us 5 years really to get to where we are today, which is the formal planning. We were incorporated as a community group 5 years ago. 4 years ago, we were setting ourselves up and working in small groups. 3 years ago, we probably decided that we needed to have a new sustainable project, a new focus in Rathmullen. And we worked on that, including making 2 buildings here safe, the Abbey and the Battery, spent over 250,000 on that. Mm-hmm. Then we met up with the Rural Regeneration team in Donegal County Council. And for the last 2 years, I've been working with Paul Kelly and Johnny Nealis. I have to say they've been extremely supportive, proactive, professional. And over the last 2 years, they have managed to link in with the environment, the conservation officers, the planning department, and we're now in a position where we have the final draft after consulting with the local community here, we have the final draft of our proposed developments, and there's a statutory process now. It's begun and it will finish in early January. So I'm delighted that you've given me the opportunity here today, Greg, to link in, to ask everybody to please make a submission. Please air your views, and this is very, very important in the planning process, but not alone in the planning process. It's also extremely important from a funding point of view, because when we get and hopefully we will get our planning, we then have to apply to national government for funding, and the more submissions that we make, that certainly will strengthen our application.
And I think you're calling on particularly not to discourage those who might have reservations, because their voice is important too, but particularly to hear from people that like this, that think it's a good idea, that think this is the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg, and it's very much a democratic process. So anybody who has anything to say, let's hear it. We want to encourage the people who our project is really broken up into three different parts. We're hoping to develop the Abbey, which has been a Carmelite priory. It has been a barracks. It's been a bishop's residence. It's been a church, and now it's a ruins. But there is a graveyard there as well. So we're hoping to open that up and to create a very much an interactive experience for people when they come to visit. The aim of developing the Abbey and the Battery in Rathmullen is to try to extend the tourism season, to extend the season so that there are activities here and interactive activities. At the moment, both buildings are I suppose they're vacant. They can be visited. You can visit the Abbey, but unfortunately, the Battery is still locked up. So we want people to be able to come and to experience the history that's attached to both buildings. In the Battery, we're hoping to extend the building itself. We're hoping to facilitate exhibitions and conferences. We're hoping to create an education centre where the Flight of the Earls and other historical events can be celebrated. We're also hoping to take in a very important aspect of it will be learning about our environment, and to create a research and a learning centre. And we also would hope that we'd be able to experience the Flight of the Earls and the other historical events, including maybe Napoleon, through the virtual reality glasses. So we want to create two live buildings from the old buildings that are sitting there at the moment. So it's very important that the local community, I think, we've been told that usually what happens, Greg, is that the people who want to support something assume that everybody else is going to maybe make that submission. So we need everybody to make the submission, to have their say. Not alone is the submission important from a planning point of view, but it's vital from a funding point of view. So we need as many submissions as possible. We're hoping that our application for planning will be successful. And then when we move on to applying for funding next year, we then hope that, and we've been told that the submissions will be included in that application.
And it's a long process. This isn't. I mean, it's been ongoing for some time and still a ways to go.
Yeah, we still have another possibly next year. The process with regard to planning, Greg, is that the plans are in view now Monday to Friday in the offices and county council offices in Lifford, in Letterkenny, and in Milford, and then and will be on view until the 3rd of January. So then shortly after that, all the plans will be gathered together. and all the submissions, will be gathered together, and the planning department will make their call. They'll write a report. It'll go to the councillors, and hopefully it'll be there in time for the council meeting at the end of January, on the 30th of January. So again, when that happens, and if that's successful, then we have to wait until the funding is opened. That's the funding for a rural regeneration. This is a national program, and the funding for rural regeneration usually opens around springtime or the middle of the year. So we're hoping to have our shovel-ready project. We're hoping to be ready to have planning, to be able to apply for funding, and hopefully we'll be granted that funding next year. So you're right, it'll probably take another year before we see action on the ground. But I suppose it's a democratic process. We do have to consult with the environment and with the conservation people. The planning has to go through due process. So I think there's very little we can do about that. But it is frustrating from a volunteering point of view.
Yeah.
And it does take a huge amount of time. So we're very anxious that all of those people who come to our meetings, and we regularly have 75 to about 100 people at our meetings, that all of those submit a submission. We want to allow everybody to have their say and to encourage everybody to have their say. And that's vital, not just from a planning point of view, but also from a funding point of view as well.
Okay. A caller wants to know, do you know why the toilets closed at 4:30 in Rathmullen? I know it's not separate to that, but maybe you are in the know?
That's a total separate
Right,
issue,
okay.
as you can appreciate. But
You can't be across everything.
Yeah. But a quick answer is that it's been getting dark around about that time.
Right, okay. All right, that'll do. The caller says the Pier Hotel site plan structure is totally out of character for the surrounding areas, but that's why we have this process. People can have their says, presumably.
Yes, I think in any given development, there's going to be a mix of the old and the new, and the Pier Hotel site has been vacant now for nearly 20 years. There's no sign of any commercial development, and now we have an opportunity to create a community hub there. The community hub will facilitate 2 retail spaces, and that'll be the first time in Rathmullen that we've seen a new retail space come on stream. It will also house a community hall, and at the moment I think there's a huge need for a community hall in Rathmullen to cater for teenagers and young people and the youth of the area. We'll also have accommodation there. The accommodation will include 12 double bedrooms and 2 family rooms. And there is and has been a shortage of accommodation in the area. So that mixed with facilities for modern workspaces, a small digital hub, meeting rooms, and on the top, people will be able to enjoy a view over the Swilly and travel up there, relax on the roof terrace. So it is new. It is a new development, and that has been designed in keeping with the height of the buildings adjoining on either side as well.
Okay. Listen, thanks for your time, and just remind people of how they have their input, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, we'd really love if people would make their submissions, Greg, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to highlight that.
All right, take care of yourself and keep on doing what you're doing there. I really appreciate your time this morning. 086 60 25,000, that is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 074 91 25,000, 074 91 25,000. Back with more in the 9 till noon show after we take this commercial break.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. With all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas. McGee's, delivered to your door, or you can collect in store.
Highland Radio are on the road in 2023. Join us for our trip to Dublin on Thursday the 23rd of February to see the 25th anniversary show of Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance. This show has amazed audiences across the globe with its fusion of high energy, Irish dancing, original music and storytelling. Sit back and relax as we take care of everything.
Your trip includes luxury transfers to and from Dublin, staying at the 4-star Clayton Hotel in Dublin, including breakfast and your ticket to the show. Call us today on 074 9125,000 for more information. At Joe McGee Butchers, we have all your needs to make this Christmas dinner extra special. So, if it's a fresh whole turkey, a turkey breast fillet in a vac-pack cooking bag with a cooking pop-up timer, a ham joint or a succulent dry-aged sirloin steak, then call in to Joe McGee Butchers at Glencar Shopping Centre and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where we have Christmas all wrapped up for you.
Claire Clothing on Main Street, Letterkenny has 20% discount off all clothes. We can help you with your Christmas gifting. We have cosy sweaters, handbags, jewellery and gift vouchers with 20% discount off. Claire Clothing, Main Street, Letterkenny, beside the Bank of Ireland.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Looking to gift the perfect trainers for Christmas? Check out our new arrivals, winterized trainers with a waterproof upper from all your favourite brands. Hoka, Asics, Brooks, and a new favourite, On Running, gives you a unique comfort sensation. Give the gift of sport this Christmas, in-store and online at bmcsports.ie.
Hi, I'm Angela. Are you on a date that isn't working out? Is your online date not who they said they were? Does it all feel a bit weird? Do you feel like you're not in a safe situation?
Wherever you see the Ask for Angela signs or posters, know that the establishment supports the Ask for Angela campaign. The Ask for Angela campaign is supported by An Garda Síochána, the Joint Policing Committee, Donegal County Council and the Vintners and Hoteliers Association Donegal, working together to keep people safe across Donegal.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
All right, so it is continuing very, very cold, isn't it? And I think tonight actually is going to be the coldest night of this current cold spell. But I'll tell you what the weather forecast for this morning is. Widespread frost and icy conditions will persist through the rest of the week, with any coastal showers potentially falling as sleet or snow, though they will be somewhat isolated, we understand. Just to mention that we have the Say What competition running for you today, which will come to you in the next hour. We're just not going to be able to do that right now. That'll come to you in the next hour. We're joined on the programme now by Raymond. Good morning, Raymond. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, sir. How's the form?
I am good. Do you believe that Enoch Burke is a religious political prisoner?
Yeah, yes. I mean, Greg, I don't know what term you come up with in here, but like this is just grossly unfair. He's got serious religious beliefs in here, and I really don't know what's wrong with his religious beliefs, other than some judges, these judges come from, if you will, sort of sheltered backgrounds, and I don't know. We're certainly not talking about justice here. He's not being given justice, and I just think he's been treated terribly, terribly unfairly, being put in prison for this so-called contempt of court situation. And
what do you
who
mean?
Determines that?
But when you say so-called contempt of court, you would be familiar. His religious beliefs is that he is against transgenderism. There was a student in the school who wished to be known as, I think, the them and they pronouns. He refused to use those pronouns. He was suspended whilst an investigation was ongoing into his refusal to do that. Even though he was suspended pending an investigation, he continued to attend the school and approached the head mistress or masteress at an event to have a conversation with them. To prevent him attending the school until such time as there was a hearing, they had to go to court to get a court order, and he refuses to abide by that court order. You think that he's within his rights to refuse to abide by a court order pending the outcome of a committee meeting at the school?
Greg, there's a term called wokeism, or wokeism, however you want to put it. And this is just an example of wokeism. Like, you cannot have a dissenting opinion in here from anything, and, we're going to throw everything at you because you dissented from us in here. And I just think it's terribly, grossly unfair in here. And it's, I'm not certain how you phrase it, but it's just wrong. And the gentleman has a right to stand up for his religious beliefs in here. And it's like he's sort of being discriminated against in here.
And do you believe that the student who wishes to be known by different pronouns, do you believe that they have any rights?
Well, I presume they have a right, but it's like we're getting into sort of new territory here that I'm not totally familiar with, if you will, and it just seems like Enoch, I believe, is a teacher. I would consider teachers to be the most valuable members of society because they teach young people. And I think they're incredibly, incredibly important here. And I just think this is, we're going to put you in line. And if you step out of line, we're going to kick you and go get a so-called court order and put you in jail for contempt. And we don't want to hear anything about you. And it's like there's no discussion. There's no serious conversation. It's sort of, English colonialism going on here.
Okay.
You cannot dissent in here. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know it. But does Enoch not have any consideration that's due him in here? Can he not have different things in here? I mean, Greg, there are situations I know in the United States where people have been, I guess the term is transitioned, and had operations, and then 10 years later, it's like, oh my God, I made the most horrendous decision of my life. I was manipulated in here, and there's even a case recently where there's a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, and I mean, these guys are tougher than tough, and he transitioned, and 10 years later, it's like huge mistake.
Yeah, but you're citing singular examples. I mean, I could say I know a person that decided to get married, and the marriage didn't work out, and so we should ban marriage. You know what I mean? Like, to citing singular examples, I'm not sure how it progresses the argument. I mean, it's about, I think it's down to fundamentals, not examples. It's about what you believe to be right or wrong. But if you are employed by an institution that has rules and you don't adhere to those rules, but you still want to keep doing what you're doing within that institution, I mean, you are going to find yourself, there's a cost to taking such a moral stand, isn't there? And if you defy a court order, you're going to be incarcerated. I'm not saying, that's not a commentary on whether it's right or wrong or he shouldn't or shouldn't, but that's the reality. If you want to take a stand on your morals, it's going to cost you, it seems.
Greg, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, and yes, it's true. But then I think there's even a more fundamental question of,
unfortunately, Raymond, it's one which we won't be able to get into before 10, unfortunately, because I didn't know where the conversation was going to go, so I'm not cutting you off here, Raymond. It's just that it is literally 10 a.m. and we have to get the news. Listen, it's something we'll talk about again in the future, I'm sure. Thanks for your time this morning. 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts to that number. We'll be back after the news and the obituary notices.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. We're in for an exceptionally cold night right across the country. A new orange weather alert for ice and cold temperatures will come into effect for 19 counties from 6 o'clock this evening. The existing nationwide yellow alert also remains in place until Friday. Climate scientist Cathal Nolan from Ireland's Weather Channel says tonight could be the coldest we've seen so far this year.
We're really into the depths of this particular cold spell at the moment now, and tonight certainly will be the coldest night of the current cold spell across the country. It's likely that temperatures, certainly for parts of the Midlands, parts of the Midwest, about Athenry, maybe Mount Dillon and Roscommon, those areas are likely to get down to potentially as low as -9, maybe even touching -10 degrees Celsius in one or two parts. Pretty unusual in the context of Irish meteorology to get temperatures down quite that low, so certainly it will be an exceptionally cold night right across the country.
Almost €1 million in funding has been announced for 6 projects in Donegal. Under the Town and Village Renewal Scheme, Carndonagh, Convoy, Dunlow, Manor Cunningham, Lifford and Ballybuffet Stranorlar will benefit. Minister Charlie McConlogue, in announcing the funding, says it will see the likes of the development of the railway park in Convoy and the addition of a sheltered space in Carndonagh's Barrack Hill Town Park. Councillor Cian Brogan says the monies will be a game changer for small towns and villages in the county. He says it will greatly support the work of the local community group in Manor Cunningham.
This is 144,900 for Manor Cunningham. It'll make a huge difference. It's a vote of confidence and it's rewarding for the community group as well. And this is a huge endorsement for their work, and the allocation as a whole is a massive allocation of almost €1 million, and it will make a huge difference to some of the smaller towns right throughout the county.
Driving instructors in Buncrana have raised concerns over the deterioration of road markings in the town. Councillor Nicholas Crossan says he was approached by a number of instructors who say the lack of road markings is making it difficult for learner drivers. He's pressed Donegal County Council to carry out works to reinstate the markings.
Buncrana is a testing centre for young drivers. Some of the testers have asked me to make representation to say would they put in white lines to give the young drivers the proper position that they should be at a junction. These lines have been wore away, and I thought with the lorry that is in the Buncrana area of late that these lines could be done as well.
Planning permission has been granted for a new nursing home in Inishowen. Donegal County Council has given the go-ahead for the 58-bed unit at Churchland Quarters, Carndonagh. The project will include demolition works and the erection of a new extension to Churchtown Lodge to facilitate a 10-bed respite care facility. People of Rathmullen are being asked to have their say on the future of the town. Donegal County Council, in partnership with Rathmullen The Way Forward, have applied for planning permission for the regeneration of the Abbey, Battery and Pier Hotel sites. A consultation is running until January the 3rd. Mick McGlynn of Rathmullen The Way Forward support group says the people's views will have a major impact on bringing the project to fruition.
Ask everybody to please make a submission. Please air your views. This is very, very important in the planning process, but not alone in the planning process. It's also extremely important from a funding point of view. When we get, and hopefully we will get, our planning, we then have to apply to national government for funding. The more submissions that we make, that certainly will strengthen our application.
And Bus Éireann is urging motorists to be mindful of where they park. As part of a new Keep It Clear campaign, drivers are asked to think of those people who are impacted by the blocking of bus stops. 1 in 4 people have admitted to blocking a bus stop. Brian Connolly, Bus Éireann Senior Operation Manager for the West, says doing so has a major knock-on effect.
It does cause us severe issues in terms of our operation, both, as I say, from the customer perspective, but also if a bus has to wait, it causes issues from a punctuality point of view. It can also lead to blocking up the other traffic trying to use the road, and in extreme cases we may even have to skip the bus stop, which is a difficulty, obviously.
Weather now, widespread frost and icy conditions will persist through the rest of the week. Temperatures will remain below freezing this morning, reaching between 0 and +1 degree this afternoon. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notice is for this Wednesday morning, December the 14th. The death has occurred of Dennis Anthony Wallace, Coshlocha, Gideon Road, Dunlow. His remains will be reposing in McGlynn's funeral home this afternoon from 2 o'clock. Rosary at 8 o'clock with removal afterwards to his mother's house in Coshlocha. Funeral Mass on Friday at St Cronus Church, Dunlow at 12 noon with interment afterwards in Mahary Cemetery. The death has taken place of Willie Doherty Umla Carrygard. His remains will repose at his late residence from 3 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral from there on Friday morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on the Meva Parish Facebook page. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if desired to Donegal MS and the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. Family time from 10 p.m. until 11 a.m. The death has taken place of Mary Lunny, née O'Donnell, Dominic Street, Dublin, and late of Bessborough Avenue, North Strand and County Donegal. Reposing at the Kerwin Funeral Home, Fairview Strand, this evening with a gathering of family and friends from 5 until 7 o'clock. Removal tomorrow morning to St Agatha's Church, North William Street, arriving for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in Dean's Grange Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on the St Agatha's Church webcam. The death has taken place of Reginald Rage Porter, Grange, Inch Island, reposing at his home. Removal from his home tomorrow morning at 10:15 to Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Beaumont Hospital, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Geraldine Stevenson, née Foley, 195 Lower Main Street, Strabane, and formerly of Bridge Street, Strabane, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow morning at 9:20 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the Sacred Heart Cemetery, Derry Road, Strabane. Family time please from 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Funeral Mass can be viewed on mcnmedia.tv. The death has occurred of Annie Grant, Kinnigo, Ballymcgann, Buncrana. Annie's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time on the morning of the funeral. Annie's Requiem Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Robert McNair, Fay Manor, Cunningham. His remains are reposing at the home of his nephew, Alistair McNair, Killyvery, Newton, Cunningham. Funeral service there this afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by burial in the family plot in Rye Presbyterian Graveyard. The house is private and on the morning of the funeral, family and friends welcome. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Medical 4, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Marina McGarvey, Glenleary, Ramelton, Donegal, reposing at the residence of her father and mother at Glenleary, Ramelton today. Funeral from there at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for interment in Church Street Cemetery, Ramelton. Donations in lieu of flowers to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or McElwee Funeral Directors. House strictly private. The death has taken place of Phyllis Monegal, née Gallagher, Priesttown, Carndonagh, County Donegal. Phyllis's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11:15, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family only time from 10 p.m. until 11 a.m. Funeral can be viewed on churchmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Patrick Bradley, 7 College Road, Glencar, Letterkenny, formerly Creve Smith, reposing at his late residence. House private please. Requiem Mass in St Junan's Cathedral at 12 noon today, which can be viewed online at churchservices.tv, followed by interment in the family plot in New Leck Cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations if wished to Archview Lodge Nursing Home Residents Comfort Fund, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director, or any family member. The death has occurred of Mickey Carr, Glenkira, Newmills, reposing at his late residence. House strictly private to family and close friends only please. Funeral from there this morning for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Columbus Church, Glenswilly, with burial afterwards in Temple Douglas Cemetery. And the death has taken place of Anita Peoples, née Harley, Dublin, 27 Helen Street, Derry. Funeral from her home this morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Eugene's Cathedral, with burial afterwards in the city cemetery. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Okay, just in relation to that conversation we had with Alone there, that €10 million is an additional needs payment. If you're struggling, you call the Department of Social Welfare and ask for community welfare officer in your area, by the way, and they should be able to help you there, which is going to be an important issue for some. I totally agree with Raymond. It appears a majority can no longer speak our thoughts, but we have to agree with the minority. I know I'm personally terrified expressing my truth because of the PC world we are now living in. Mr. Burke's stint in prison has really nothing to do with religious beliefs or anyone's gender. He simply refused to abide by a court order and was imprisoned. And that is the situation as it stands. But you see, and the argument he was making in court, that none of this would have come about if he did not have to compromise, as he would say, his religious beliefs. But he can maintain his religious beliefs. He can go through the process of a hearing within the school and at the same time purge his contempt and be at home with his family. A caller says, I do not support Enoch Burke's view, but it is unjustifiable that he's been selectively jailed for contempt of court, breaching a court order. I'm not sure how selective that is. I think if you... He had a number of opportunities to purge his contempt, and he declined to do so. He took a stand on that, and the cost of taking that stand was imprisonment, and that was laid out clear. I'm not sure how routinely people are imprisoned for the contempt of court, but I think if they've had a number of occasions to purge it, but they continue not to, I think pretty much to a person they will be incarcerated. Okay, let us take a break. It is time to play Radio Bingo. Good luck if you are playing. Here are the numbers for you. Tomorrow's jackpot day, don't forget, but today it's all about that big daily cash prize. As I say, here are the numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 14th of December. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S8. It's game number 50. The numbers are 45, 20, 73, 9, 71, 44, 29, 84, 31, and finally 49. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas. McGee's, delivered to your door, or you can collect in store.
At Fire Grids Donegal, there's heavy-duty fire grids for stoves, open fires, back boilers, ranges, baffle plates, dampers, ash pans, fire brick and stove glass, all made to size. Rates now in stock. Call 086 860 2012 or message Fire Grids Donegal on Facebook.
Hello, Dream Inspector. 50 grand. Got it. Wait, 10 winners of 50 grand each every Tuesday and Friday? So every Euro Millions draw till Christmas is guaranteed 10 Irish winners of 50 grand each?
10 Ireland-only raffle winners of €50,000 guaranteed in every Euro Millions draw till Christmas. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun. All Euro Millions Ireland-only raffle draws until December 23rd.
Do you want to take time to spend enjoying the stunning Donegal outdoors to the next level? Wet n Wild is #1 for quality and stock all the leading brands of outdoor clothing, footwear and equipment to keep you warm, safe and dry whatever the weather. Remember, a quality Christmas gift from Wet n Wild will be the cheapest in the long run.
Toyota Relax, our new service-activated warranty, is now available at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny and Mount Charlotte. Whether you bought your Toyota from us, a classified ad, or your auntie, Once it's less than 10 years old, with under 185,000 kilometres, you will get a 12-month warranty when you get your service at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles. For more, search Toyota. Relax. Toyota. Built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
PDO Thread Lifts, the ultimate non-surgical lift for the skin, improving facial contours, lifting and tightening jaws, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Gweedore, also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and skin boosters. Call Mary Ferry, your qualified aesthetics practitioner, on 9532575. Hair and makeup packages and Christmas vouchers available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Gweedore, wishing all our clients a happy Christmas. Bill Kenwright presents Wooly Russell's multi-award-winning musical Blood Brothers at the Millennium Forum from Tuesday 31st of January to Saturday 4th of February. Rebecca Storm stars in the internationally acclaimed musical featuring unforgettable hit songs including Marilyn Monroe and Tell Me It's Not True. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk or call 04871 264455.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Right, people in Donegal can start using a new court service online portal to answer jury summonses, to follow the status of their reply, and to catch real-time updates on any changes to their jury service detail. From today, jury summonses received in Donegal are offering people the option to reply online. This new easy-to-use online system, we're told, will allow people the option to reply to a jury summons, check the status of the reply and access helpful information available to them 24/7. From the court service, we're joined now on the programme by Sandra O'Farrell and Pat Conlon. Good morning to both of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Morning. How are you?
I am good. Right, so one of you might explain to me how this might make the jury summonsing system work better, perhaps.
Yeah, no problem. I can talk you
Sandra.
through that. So you're talking to us today in the centralised office here in Castlebar, which was set up in 2019, and we would issue around 220,000 summonses a year for jury service. And traditionally, people could only reply to us by post or through an email address. However, that's all been changed. We've had a major investment, and it's all gone online onto a new digital platform. So what jurors will now be able to do once they receive their summons is log on to jury.courts.ie or simply scan the QR code on the summons, and it will bring them straight through to a secure page. Once they get to that secure page, they will be able to use their unique juror ID and their secure PIN number to access full details of their jury summons, information about the court, the location of the court, parking, public transport, all the questions that people might have around attending court on the day. And they will also be able to either accept the summons or look to be excused.
And also, we have a situation too sometimes whereby at relatively short notice, for one reason or another, a jury is not required on any given day. Will there be... will people be able to access this portal to find out information like that? Will there be push notifications? What way will that work?
Yeah, I'll hand you over to Pat to do with that.
Good stuff, Pat.
Greg, just in relation to that, we address that issue slightly differently because these incidents kind of rise often at the very last minute for various incidents that might happen. But what we would do in that situation is when somebody has agreed to attend as a juror, we would have their phone number. So what we would do then, we would send them a text message. But this happens very rarely because the court service don't usually have to liaise with people in this regard. Like we wouldn't be sending emails out to people on a regular basis. And there are fraudulent ones that do appear, but they're not from us. We will only send you your jury summons in the post. And if there's a last minute cancellation of a court, it will be done by text message to the individual people in that regard.
Yeah. And what about people who may want to use the previous system that they don't necessarily want to interact online on this?
Absolutely. If people aren't comfortable using the online portal, they don't have to. Every summons will be accompanied with a prepaid free post envelope, and they can send their reply form back to us in that manner. That's no problem.
All right. And what do we see?
It's just important to
go ahead, Sandra.
If seeking to be excused. Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just important if people are seeking to be excused that they attach any necessary supporting documents when they're sending it back on the post or replying online. That will enable them to get a faster response, because the whole reason that we're doing this is to improve customer service and make things easier for the person who's been called for jury service, so they're not waiting for a reply.
And have we seen this employed in other parts of the country yet, and how has it worked there?
Yeah, Greg, we already had a pilot project for this. We started off with County Mayo, where the centralised office is based, and then we extended it to Kilkenny, Tipperary and Waterford. So the pilot has been done already earlier this year. Everything is working very well. There's been a very good take-up on it. And on the basis of how well the pilot has worked, we've been rolling it out now to the majority of the rest of the country going into 2023.
Yeah, and I suppose, from a user end perspective from us, hopefully this will improve things, but presumably too behind the scenes in dealing with and processing all of this stuff, people employed by the court services, it's going to make their lives a little easier too, you'd hope.
Well, we would hope we would do. Now, this is part of the court service modernisation plan, where we provide a better and simpler systems for people to link up with us. So it should make things much, much easier. But from the perspective of people working in the court service, in the centralised jury office, the big saving is, and also there's an environmental impact here, that we have a lot less paper to deal with. Because if we get more information online, we're going to have less paper being sent in the post. And there will be although there's been a considerable investment in this, there will be savings further along the line, whereas we don't use simple things like the return envelope won't have to be used because people are dealing with it online.
All right, but for many people who will get notice over the next while, once this new system's introduced, it'll be the first time they've ever had the interaction. So could one of you sort of talk us through what happens when someone's called? We'll just focus on under the new system, if that's okay. What happens when and what the process is when someone is called for jury service?
Yeah, no problem. So the way that anyone in the country is called for jury service is that they're selected at random from the register of electors. So anyone who's on the Teacht na Dála register is eligible for jury service, because you have to be on the electoral register to get called from it. So once you have been called randomly from the register, the summons will issue to you in the post. People then will receive an envelope, and in the envelope they will get their summons, a reply to jury summons form, an information booklet called Your Guide to Jury Service in Ireland, a prepaid envelope. And they then can go about reading the booklet if they want to initially, which will give them a whole plethora of information on the background of jury service, who is eligible, who can be excused, and different ways to go about doing that. Or they can simply scan the QR code, come into the new system. Once they get into the new system, it's fully secure, so people don't need to worry about that element of it, because everyone has a unique juror number, and then attached to that, everyone else has a unique PIN number as well. So when you log on to that, you'll see a copy of your summons online. You also have a link through to Your Guide to Jury Service in Ireland on the online system. So you can state that you're applying for yourself or you're applying on behalf of somebody else. So say, for example, if Mary is living in Australia for the last 10 years and Mom gets her summons. So Mom can log on and reply on Mary's behalf to say that Mary is living out of the country, and then Mary will be excused.
All right.
Or you can go down the route of replying for yourself. So when you click into that, you will fill out your basic details again. So you'll just confirm your name, your address, and you have the option to put in contact details at this stage, your email, your phone number, your occupation. But that's up to yourself. You don't have to. Then you can either accept the summons, at which point we get a notification to say that you've accepted the summons, and you won't need to be contacted again through the portal unless, as Pat explained, there is a need to cancel the trial at last minute. Then you will receive a text message from the court service notifying you of that.
And in terms, sorry, go ahead, Sandra. I beg your pardon. I keep thinking you're finished. Continue, please. Sorry.
Yeah, so then the other option is when you seek to be excused, you can just simply select your reason for wishing to be excused. So, for example, it may be that you are over 65, that you happen to be a member of the Guards or a member of the Defence Forces. You may be a teacher, work as a medical practitioner. There's a number of reasons why you can be excused. You can give us all that information online. You may have a holiday booked. You may be caring for small children. All those things will be taken into consideration and will build towards getting excused from jury service. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you should get a notification to tell you that you've been excused, followed by your hard copy excusal letter in the post.
All right. And finally, from either of the two of you, is there anything else that we should know that I haven't touched on? No, I think we're good.
I think we're fine, Greg. You know, everything is going very well, and we're hoping the take up by people has jumped up to well into the 70-80%, and we hope we can continue on that. that trajectory.
Yeah, and this does not in any way change how juries are selected either, by the way, does it? No, that whole process all remains the same. Yeah, okay.
No, that will continue to remain from the Register of Electors. And just as a matter of interest there with Donegal, there might be a number of people in the Gaeltacht region. So just to make you aware, the booklet that accompanies the summons is fully bilingual, and we're in the process of developing the Irish summons, and that will mirror online and offline. So that should be rolled out in our next phase.
Okay, right, we'll watch on with interest. Both of you, thank you very much indeed for your time. Sandra O'Farrell there and Pat Conlon from the Court Services. As I say, for a lot of people, I presume you will be getting contacted for the first time, not exclusively, but for a lot of people you will. So that's how it'll be done going forward. All right, we'll be back with more on the programme, but let's first take a very short break. As I say, we'll be right back.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time. Visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
Things we don't like to share. Uncomfortable moments under the mistletoe. Oh dear. Things we do like to share. Gifts, especially if they're from Samsung. Because this year, you can claim cash back on selected Samsung products with €220 on a Galaxy Z Flip 4 and €55 on a pair of Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Merry Christmas to them and to you. Find out more at Samsung.com.
Purchase before the 20th December 22 from a participating retailer. Claim from Samsung within 60 days of purchase. T's and C's apply.
Treat the GAA fan in your life to a Donegal jersey or the 6-sock Donegal men's gift box this Christmas from Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure. There's also great stocking fillers like snoots and bobble hats. Shop local and find the perfect gift with free next day delivery on orders over €85 at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Hello there. Christmas is the perfect time for saying thank you. And what better way than to give a Harvey's Point gift card. Available from the hotel on 07497 22208 or from harveyspoint.com. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. A Harvey's Point gift card.
Mike Denver in concert with guests Brendan Shine and Philomena Begley at the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny on January 6th and Millennium Forum Derry on March 18th. Tickets now on sale at both venues and ticketmaster.ie. That's Mike Denver with Philomena Begley and Brendan Shine in Letterkenny and Derry. The perfect Christmas gift.
Hello, Hill 16 Insurance. How can I help you? Up the dubs.
Hi. I am looking for a home insurance quote.
Righto, and what part of Dublin do you live in?
I don't actually live in Dublin.
Right. Do you at least support the dubs?
What? I'm just looking for home insurance.
Well, you're going to have to keep looking, pal, because Hill 16 is Dublin only.
Get the feeling that your insurer doesn't want you? At Local Insurance, we understand your needs. Call today for a bespoke quote or find us online at localinsurance.ie. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Join Derek Ryan for a night of dancing at the Melon Country Inn Hotel Oma this Friday the 16th of December. That's Derek Ryan live at the Melon Country Inn Hotel Oma this Friday the 16th of December. Pay at the door.
From January, more households will be able to get help with home heating costs. The fuel allowance is paid at a rate of €33 a week and helps with the cost of heating your home during the winter months. To find out more and check your eligibility, visit gov.ie/fuel allowance. The quickest and easiest way to apply is online at mywelfare.ie. One fuel allowance payment per household. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
National Fuels, Churchill. Delivering home heating oil in Letterkenny and surrounding areas. 9137 400. National Fuels. Bringing you the time at...
Now the time is 10:30, just turning 10:30. I'm joined on the programme now by Mary Hannah. Mary, can you hear me okay? Good morning to you.
Yes, I can hear you very clearly here from North Armagh, yes.
Okay, great, because we're switching over to a new system today, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants somewhat. But anyway, I am very relieved. Are you feeling in the festive mood? Your festive single, the Hannah Sisters festive single is out.
Yeah, I think because of the last couple of years, we really haven't had the typical Christmas or the traditional Christmas with lockdown and whatnot. So just getting back out again, and we decided to put this Christmas single out because we haven't done that in a few years.
Yeah, and what attracted you to Joni Mitchell's River?
Yeah, people are asking us that a lot. We had thought maybe of doing something traditional, like maybe Oh Holy Night or some of the, the classic Christmas songs. And then we thought, well, do you know what? We'll try something maybe a bit more in the folk vein, and it sort of suited our instrumentation. It is a piano-based song. She's absolutely fabulous, and I suppose it was written in 1971, and it's not that typical of a Christmas song. So, and we're really pleased at how it worked. It just seemed to suit us. It just seemed to sit very well with us. So no, we loved it.
Yeah, do you think sometimes maybe, we have to have Christmas bells and Christmassy Christmas for something to become a Christmas song? I think of E17 Stay Another Day. The only thing that determines that as a Christmas song is some bells in the background and us being conditioned to believe it to be a Christmas song. So I just wonder sometimes that's why radio stations keep going back to the same 3 songs, I think, because they think that that's what their audience might like.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I suppose maybe it's just what you're used to as well. I mean, after a while, you get sick listening to the same stuff over and over. Well, at least I do. Maybe I'm older, and you get, it's the jingles in the back, and I suppose it is a catchy song. So I suppose River's a bit different. It's different. And why I liked it was, I suppose I liked her music. And I like the way she was experimental, and she marries all the different types of music, jazz and folk, and and we have classical elements in our music as well. So that's probably why it wouldn't be the obvious choice for a lot of people. But no, it sits with us, and I think we're able to sort of show our harmonies in it as well. And no, we're not the sort of group with jingles in the background. We're too old for that.
I don't even see so much as a sprig of tinsel in your house, or is that a studio?
No, that's where I teach piano as well. This is a piano teacher, and that's sort of where we work out of.
I know. I'm only joking. I'm sure you love Christmas. And you, as a collective, the Hannah Sisters, have been playing for quite some time together. But it's relatively recently that you started laying the music down. Is that correct? And there's an EP on the way.
Yeah, we've been playing for years. We grew up with music. Our parents, although they didn't play instruments, they were very keen on music, sort of skipped a generation. My grandfather made his own fiddle years ago and was in traditional music. My daddy's father was a traditional singer, loved collecting poems. So it sort of missed a generation. So I think our parents were very conscious. They sent us to classical lessons. We went to the traditional, the cultus groups and things like that. So we've always been playing. Like, somebody asked us how long have we known each other and how long have we played together. We are sisters. We're playing from a very early age.
But I think maybe some bands call themselves brothers or sisters, and there's a mixture of there might be 2 sisters and the rest. But it's a good conversational point, at least, I suppose.
Yeah, because when we went to America, we had to get visas years ago. We toured in America, short tour, and they asked us, how long. That was one of the questions. How long have you known each other? So we laughed and said, this.
I think when that happens, the person really might be there in body but not spirit. I think that it might have been the end of a long day.
About 20 years ago, we gave up our teaching jobs, and we toured Scotland and England, and a bit in the south of Ireland and Scandinavia and Denmark and Germany and things like that. So we brought out 2 albums then. And then the girls had children, and we were back teaching. And really, this over lockdown, I think we got you get your priorities straightened, and we have this talent, we have this music, and we're not recording it. So over the last couple of years, we've put down, and we've done a lot of covers, and just to get our sound again, just to get even the producer to get our sound. And just even because recording the high frequencies of the tin whistles and violin, it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
And particularly to get I think we've got it in this song. We started to write last year as well. It's agreeing on we're all coming with something else. no, that's not good. And as just sisters, you're just straight down the line. No, go back again.
So there's an advantage in that, yeah, I suppose. Now, let me ask you just in terms of, I mean, between the three of you, you can play a myriad of instruments. And as you say, you know, you can go back to your grandparents and there's some of that there, but not necessarily with your parents. How much of that is sort of a skill that you're born with, do you think, and you just happen to be directed in the right direction? I mean, there's no doubt, obviously, to play it at a certain level, it requires incredible dedication, hard work, and, you know, but I just often wonder, how much are you born with, like, a natural talent, even like a dart thrower, you know, and how much of it is acquired through your life?
Well, there's a thesis in that. Is it nature or nurture? You know, I believe that it's both. It's a bit of both. You know, you have to nurture talent, and I think as a Suzuki piano teacher, we started 0, we started 3, taking lessons. I think the earlier you're around music, the children are around that environment. It's certainly, you can hear that in our music. I mean, you can't pigeonhole our music to, you know, it's folk, it's classical, it's whatnot. We marry and all our influences.
Do you know that funny thing in talking to different musicians over the years? I think too, you know, if you have to put a press release out, or you're working with a PR agency, or you're working with a record company, there is you know, I think whoever that is doing the PR feels they need to put bands in groups, like, and then what happens is you get some crazy amalgamations, because a band is artistic and artistically free to some extent, and I would imagine it sort of feels counterintuitive to try and drill yourself into, you know, 1 or 2, possibly 3 at most genres, when you feel, well, that's actually going to inhibit our audience potentially, because we're so much more than that. Get it out there and let people decide what we are. We are whatever we are to whomever is listening to us.
And I think that's really important, because we have evolved as artists. And, you know, while we played together and while we still play together, we've played in other bands. The girls have played in orchestras. And, you know, that different influences. I would listen to a lot of classical music, whereas the girls wouldn't. They would probably listen to maybe more folk, or, you know, and I'm starting to listen to more jazz. And I think, you know, that you need to bring all those influences. And if you look at the likes of Joni Mitchell, or like our own Michael O'Sullivan, like, he married classical music and traditional music and jazz music. And to me, there's something fresh, there's something different about that, it's exciting about that. So I think I don't like to be pigeonholed, and I suppose it's three business women. I don't think we're going to be pigeonholed too quickly.
No. Okay. No, yeah, exactly. But it's just off the back of the presser we were sent through on you guys, and the music genres described in here. But you know, it's obviously clearly much more beyond that. Right, we're going to look forward to. We're going to listen to The River now, because we're playing a bit of Christmas music as we approach Christmas, and it's great to speak to the people that have produced it. 2023, what does it hold for you? The EP out in 2023, or what?
Well, we would like to get back into the studio and get, you know, something to agree on, at least an EP of our own material. You know, that is the plan. And maybe at the end of the year, we'd like to go touring as well. So, I mean, this is, they're singing as well. So, you know, even just to get back out there, back on the road. But we just don't want to do it for the sake of it. You know, we want to get it right. And I think we need to get our own material out there first. But that's the next step.
Yeah.
That's what's in the plan.
And maybe we look forward to speaking to you, actually. We do look forward to speaking to you maybe in the future with that stuff. Okay, listen, thanks for your time today, and have a lovely Christmas, and thanks for taking time out this morning to chat to us.
Yeah, and thank you, Craig. And before I go, I can't not acknowledge the Crishlop families and community at Christmas. You know, it is a reflective family time, and, you know, our hearts are with them all there.
So true. Thank you so very much indeed. That is Mary Hannah of the Hannah Sisters, and they have out for Christmas their take on Joni Mitchell's track, and it's called The River.
Singing songs of joy and peace. So I wish I had a river I could skate away on. don't snow here, it stays pretty green. I'm gonna make a lot of money, then I'm gonna quit this crazy scene. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. Oh, I wish I had a river so long I would teach my feet to could skate away on. I made my baby cry. He tried hard to help me, you know, he put me at ease. And he loved me so naughty, made me weak in the knees. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. I'm so hard to handle, I'm selfish and I'm sad. Now I've gone and lost the best baby that I ever had. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate. I had a river so long I would teach my feet to fly. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. I made my baby say goodbye. It's coming on Christmas. They're cutting down trees. They're putting up reindeer, singing songs of joy and peace. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on.
Customize your Christmas cards or create a photo book using photos from your smartphone or Facebook at mcgees.ie or in store on Main Street, Letterkenny. Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
Hake and Dublin Bay prawn chowder, grilled trout with pak choy. This Christmas, add a fresh idea to any table with Irish seafood, like organic smoked salmon or fresh Irish oysters. For starters or for mains, weekday dishes or a weekend treat. Irish seafood is available in your local fishmonger or supermarket. It's easy to prepare and it adds variety to your festive meals. Enjoy the best that our fishermen bring ashore. And for great Irish seafood recipes, visit boardbia.ie/fish.
This week in Home Store and More, all Christmas tree lights are still all half price. Choose from our wide range of Christmas tree lights with over 100 different types and colours. Find just the right tree light for you from 20 to 2,000 bulbs, all half price. Like save $64.50 on our top-selling 2,000 warm white cluster lights. That's right, all our Christmas tree lights are all half price. But hurry, because when they're gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More, a happy home.
This Christmas, Alone, the charity that enables older people to age at home safely and comfortably, is asking you to please share your warmth. We are helping thousands of older people and we need to grow to meet the demand for our services. Please donate at alone.ie and share your warmth. alone.ie.
Give the gift of shoes this Christmas with Green Shoes. Top brands like Kate Appleby, Una Healy and Doc Martens. Also Tommy Bow, Bugatti, Echo and many more. A huge selection of everyday and special occasion footwear. If in doubt, gift cards are available. Green Shoes at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Market Square and in Fulcara. Shop LK and One for All gift cards accepted and a deposit club is available. Shop online at greenshoes.com.
If you're about to use an electrical appliance, like your hairdryer, which uses a lot of energy, just ask the question, is this a good time?
Yeah, electricity demand's fairly low. You're looking good.
If it's before 5 p.m. or after 7 p.m, it is a good time because it's outside of peak hours when less of us are using electricity at the same time. To find out the best times for your electricity usage, sign up to our pilot at esbnetworks.ie/pilot.
Shop all your favourite brands in our menswear superstore this Christmas. 2 floors of men's fashion and top styles at Evolve Clothing Letterkenny Retail Park.
The Christmas Grinners Baby It's Cold Outside, featuring David Nopoves as Sinatra and a fantastic cast of West End singers performing classic Christmas hits. The Alley Theatre on Friday 16th of December. A romantic show full of festive cheer. Tickets £20. Book now at alley-theatre.com.
Okay, so as we have been discussing on this programme, the government has approved the drafting of legislation that would make major changes to the way the planning system operates. The proposals have been welcomed by people that build houses and also business group IBEC, but have drawn criticism from environmental group An Taisce. It seems, and we're joined on the programme now by Phoebe Duval, Planning and Environment Policy Officer with An Taisce. Good morning to you, Phoebe. Thanks for taking the call this morning. Can you hear me okay? No, Phoebe's actually just... Oh, you can, okay. You just froze as I was coming to you. But I think we're good now. I mean, on the face of it, we can dig into this a little bit. This sort of seems to feel like we are undoing everything that was done to try and make sure that the planning system was open, transparent, independent and robust. Yes, it had its flaws, but it seems to be all that work now is being undone. Is that how you see it?
Yes, that's certainly part of it, yeah. So the legislation that was approved by Cabinet yesterday to progress through to the Oireachtas early next year is coming on foot of the Attorney General's review of the entire Planning and Development Act, which is no doubt a massive and clunky piece of legislation, and it does need some reform to fix part of the problem with the new legislation is that a key component of the government's agenda for it is that it's also curtailing very significantly the rights of the public and associations, NGOs, to challenge unlawful planning and decisions in the courts. And that's what we are really...
Yeah, this connection isn't fantastic, Phoebe, so we'll persist with it. Just it's not your fault. I think it's just a quirk of technology at this stage, but we'll see how we get on. Also, too, you know, the independence of the whole planning system as well. You know, how much direct decision-making or appointments to planning boards that are to be made by an individual, like the housing minister, for example. I find that somewhat troubling. I don't know what the... I don't know what the An Taisce view on that is.
Yeah, we find it very troubling as well. And actually, in a separate bill to this major review of the planning legislation, today, the government is rushing through this bill about An Bord Pleanála appointments, which we think is extremely problematic, and it really does compromise the independence of the board. It's essentially a power grab by the minister because it gives him basically carte blanche to establish a appointed and then decide on those appointments. And there's no detail in the legislation about what that procedure will be, and it leaves the door completely open to whatever the minister of the day wants to make up. There's no safeguards, there's no Oireachtas oversight. So this will really seriously compromise the independence of the board, which we believe is completely essential for the planning body at the top of our planning system. And it also won't help restore confidence in the board, which is so crucial right now. And for the board's independence to be upheld, for confidence to be restored, the appointments process needs to be entirely transparent, rigorous, and open, and also with sufficient oversight. And the bill that's being rushed through the Oireachtas today, right before Christmas, will deliver the exact opposite of that.
And the timing of it too. I mean, they say never waste a good crisis. Unfortunately, I find myself saying that an awful lot lately. But, you know, some would say the reputation of An Taisce is tarnished and there's questions there. And that this might be seen by some in history might say that this is the government going in to tidy it all up and to make sure. Do you know what I mean? And then, as you say, it's being rushed through the Dáil pre-Christmas and we'll all have other things to worry about January, February, March. Just the timing of a number of events coming together for such drastic changes that give such strong powers to individuals. It's not really the way we should be conducting business. This should be, if you're planning on doing this, give us the first 6 months of 2023 to go through this all and have a proper conversation, proper input from the public. I think that would be the right, fair and democratic way of doing anything so important.
Absolutely. I think that's essential. And this is part of a wider plan, a wider pattern of rushing through planning legislation right before recesses. We've seen it for several years now, right before Christmas. And I think the other thing is with this An Bord Pleanála appointments bill, the government is saying that it's really urgently needed to fill vacancies on the board and to address the growing backlog of cases, which absolutely are problems. We need to have a functioning board. But the issue is the minister already has powers to fill those vacancies, but Minister O'Brien has just failed to do that. So now the government's exploiting this crisis in order to change the An Bord Pleanála appointment system completely, not just for temporary appointments, and then concentrate power in the hands of the minister. And
but we also don't know what's holding it up. Maybe 20 houses are being held up in an area because there's no plans for an improved access road, or that it will increase traffic in certain areas, or that there's not enough school places, or whatever reasons people might object to. I mean, we can't presume that the whole system is grinding to a halt and there is huge delays because curtain twitchers just like complaining about things. Do you know what I mean? That's what's being lost in this to some extent, that, maybe we've such a backlog because, people are chancing their arm in planning in certain areas or whatever, for whatever the reason might be, but I think everyone, not you, but everyone is presuming that it's just busybodies that are holding this up, and we need new legislation to make sure that doesn't happen, or that, everyone should sleep under a wind turbine or whatever it might be. Let's plant them on bogs. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? But the people I know that make objections for the most part are doing it for very legitimate reasons. They've got better things to be at. Maybe that's why we have such delays.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, ultimately, what we need to do is address the root cause of the problem. Submitted and good decisions being made. So trying to stop people rightfully participating in the planning system won't address that. We need to address the root cause of the problem, which is making sure that lawful, good decisions are coming out of An Bord Pleanála, and then ultimately those cases won't end up in the courts if they're lawful. So I think we need to be sure that we are resourcing our planning authorities well, that we have an appropriate balance of skills, environmental science, hydrology, transport, ecology, climate, so that the quality and legal robustness of the decisions that we're making is good. Yeah. And then, that I think would really actually address the delays that, it's true, it is a slow process and there are delays, but I think that's how we address it. We don't.
Yeah, again, the line's breaking up, but I mean, of course, there's things like, I never understood why someone in Galway would have an interest in a shopping centre being built in Donegal, for example. I can understand that maybe that needs to be looked at. Sometimes you feel that the Pearl Mussel or whatever it might be is being used to frustrate any planning process. There is always going to be an element of not in my backyard. Maybe there are certain areas that need to be looked at. Maybe we can't enjoy the perfect aspect from our front room window for the rest of our lives. Some things maybe do need to be looked at, but this feels like a very, very blunt instrument being brought in really, really quickly, as I say, under the guise of other things that's happening. And as I say, I think every politician, whether they are opposition or in government, should say, hold on, this is important. This is a crisis. This is not going to fix the housing crisis. Let's not pretend that's going to be the case here. But this needs to be better considered, this process. That would be proper democracy in action, Phoebe, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I think on the bill that's going through today about the Ebola appointments, absolutely, it's been completely rushed. It was not subject to a full period of Oireachtas scrutiny. And then again, with the wider bill that...
Yeah. Okay. Listen, Phoebe, I appreciate your time. We're going to have to let it go there because unfortunately the line's playing up on us and it isn't your fault, but it is persisting nonetheless. Thank you for your time. This is something we'll return to. I really appreciate your time. Okay. That is Phoebe Duval, their Planning and Environment Policy Officer with An Taisce. Right. Okay. Staying with Planning Councillor Paul Canning, Cahirloch of the Inishowen Municipal District joins us now. You're putting a warning out there, Paul, aren't you, as it relates to land tax implications for newly rezoned lands?
Yeah, the information out there is, listen, it's just how you read the information. At the minute, there's going to be a land tax on zoned land, right? Zoned land that actually is does have the relevant infrastructure. So land that doesn't have the infrastructure in place is okay. So if you have a piece of ground that is in Letterkenny and it is zoned for residential or reserve residential or opportunity, and it does have the actual infrastructure in place, that will be subject to 3% of a tax on the value of the property. Now, if you have land in Newton that is zoned but doesn't have the proper infrastructure, that will not be subject to tax. The other one is if you have land that is going to be for community development, that will not be taxed either. So there's a lot of stuff in the fine print.
And there's no secret here. The government is quite clear. They're imposing this tax, and it might actually increase in the near future. They're imposing it to try and make it attractive for landowners to make that land available for development, for housing or commercial in urban areas. So there's no smoke and daggers here. They're pretty out there on that, aren't they?
This is and it's the revenue that's going to be collected come January 2024. So the situation is it's to free up the land. If you have people in middle of large urban centres that's hoarding land, it's to free up that land and it's to allow development to go ahead, because you can do all the development plans in the world and we're all doing town plans, etc. But if somebody doesn't want to sell in the middle of the town, the CPOs are not working. So this is an incentive that's going to be a tax if you don't sell.
Well, also, you talk of CPOs because of Darragh O'Brien's new bill that he's trying to force through the Dáil would actually make it easier for people to be the subject of CPOs. So between the information you're giving us and then, of course, this new bill coming through, there could be a bit of a land grab ongoing. Do people then you can't avoid this tax? If you have a piece of land worth 100 grand, you're going to be paying $3,000 a year. Do you think everyone knows that their land or property is how it's zoned?
Yeah, well, there is information. They can go on to Donegal County Council, the website there. They can go on, but the smaller towns, there's a lot of the smaller towns out there that doesn't have the infrastructure anyway. They're safe enough, and there's a lot of towns that doesn't have actual zoning. They have what they call a settlement framework, which is a red line just around the town, but they don't have actual zoning insofar as what it is, if it's opportunity, if it's residential. But the larger urban centres of Letterkenny, the Buncranas, the Balbafays, they have land that's zoned within their town. So if them people that needs to be going and checking out their town area maps to see what land is zoned and what's not.
Who determines just in the last 20 seconds, who determines what what zonage land has? Who makes those decisions?
Well, the forward planning, the CPU and planning in Lifford would put the drawings in front of us, and they are coming from an educated background as to how the planning.
So councillors then really make the decision.
Well, the councillor can't de-zone a site in the middle of Letterkenny Street and turn it into
but he could have a little bit of land. Not he could have. There could be a little bit of land outside a town boundary that they could campaign to have rezoned as residential, presumably.
That is correct.
Right, there you go.
Well, there is room for submission now. You can put in a submission to Donegal County Council saying that you want that piece of land de-zoned. If it's in the outer ring of Letterkenny, there is no issue with that whatsoever.
All right, okay. Thanks for that. A heads up for you out there, Councillor Paul Canning. We appreciate your time this morning as always.
Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
All right, it is 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update. Good morning once again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Unless crime is happening in Garda stations in Donegal, then it won't be detected. That's what Donegal Deputy Thomas Pringle told the Dáil during statements on the appropriation bill. Among a number of issues highlighted, Deputy Pringle spoke of how in the southwest of the county, Gardaí are not available until 7 p.m, with no squad car available to Gardaí in Killybegs or Glenties, while 16 officers have been removed from the Donegal Drugs Unit. Concern has been raised by some Green Party representatives over plans approved by Cabinet yesterday, which will see an overhaul of the planning system. The draft legislation will see major changes made to the planning process, with decisions expected to be sped up considerably. A number of Green Party ministers are believed to be concerned about the potential limitations to public participation in decision making, including limitations around access to justice. Almost €1 million in funding has been announced for 6 projects in Donegal under the Town and Village Renewal Scheme. Carndonagh, Convoy, Dunlow, Manor Cunningham, Lifford and Ballybuffet Stranorlar will benefit. Councillor Ciarán Brogan says the monies will be a game changer for small towns and villages in the county. Life expectancy in Ireland is now among the best in the OECD. It stands at almost 83 years, 2 years above the average. The preparation for a new County Donegal Heritage Plan is underway. The plan is a strategic action plan for the county's built archaeological, natural and cultural heritage and will direct heritage priorities, resources and funding for the county. Meanwhile, people of Rathmullen are being asked to have their say on the future of the town. Donegal County Council, in partnership with Rathmullen The Way Forward, have applied for planning permission for the regeneration of the Abbey, Battery and Pier Hotel sites. A consultation is running until January the 3rd. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Okay, now it's another chance for you to win on the competition today. And the game, of course, is Say What? You have to listen to this piece of audio from one of Highland Radio's shows. There's a word missing, and you have to tell us what that word is. And you could win a ticket into the €30,000 car draw as a daily winner. And then also on Friday, you will be in line to win a fantastic prize. It is a €100 voucher for the Inishowen Gateway Hotel in Buncrana. And don't forget, there are gift vouchers available for the Seagrass Wellbeing Centre. There's gift sets for skincare from the Juliet Armand range. An afternoon tea on Saturday the 7th of January. That's all going on at the Inishowen Gateway Hotel. But listen to this. Actually, you can't listen to that because I didn't convert it. So we'll have to come back to that in a moment. Right, let us take a break. Hopefully that works now if I haven't broken everything. And then we'll be back with that sound for you.
Customise your Christmas cards or create a photo book using photos from your smartphone or Facebook at mcgees.ie or in store on Main Street, Letterkenny. Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
We all need a top-up now and again. If you're pregnant, your flu and COVID-19 vaccines will give your immune system the top-up it needs to help protect you in the months ahead. Both flu and COVID-19 can cause serious illness in pregnancy, and your vaccines will help protect you and your baby. So put a vaccine appointment on your to-do list or talk to your doctor or midwife. Visit hsc.ie for more information. From the HSC.
Okie doke. That is giving us an opportunity now to mention our other competition. I'll get back to the Say What. Bear with me on that. But I want to let you know that, thanks to our friends at McGee's Chemist, where's that information gone? I'm losing everything today. As I say, we're switching some things over, so there's a little bit of confusion, but we're all good now. This week on the 9 till noon show, we've got a hamper from McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. It is worth over €500 to be won. And we've got 5 daily qualifiers in the draw on Friday. Each qualifier will also win a daily prize. Today's prize is a Marc Jacobs Perfect EDP spray. Just to let you know, though, that the overall prize includes a Lancome Christmas hamper, a Be Perfect Iconic Essential set, and a 20 by 16 inch gallery wrap canvas from McGee's, so you can have your favourite photo wrapped in canvas ready to hang. That's just some of what is within that hamper. So to answer the question, after which saint is December 26th named? You can text your answer, your name and address to 086 60 25,000. That's SMS or WhatsApp. Okay, good luck if you're entering. As I say, I'll have other competition running for you very, very shortly. Okay. Now, Wayne Bowden is founder of Train with Wayne, and he joins us in the studio now. Good morning to you. How are you keeping? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
It's good. It's good to have you in. And this is part of our Wellness Wednesday item, of course. Talk to me about your health history.
Yes.
And I asked that question having already cleared that it's okay to ask, just in case listeners think. Just in case the listeners think I'm incredibly nosy.
Perfect. So I'll share the story here. So give a little bit of the background, and why I'm sharing the story here is to act as a little bit of inspiration for others. Show that with the right motivation, right people around you, there's no limit to what you can change or what you can do. So I found myself on the path to self-destruction. I was in a position where I had no self-care, no value. I was 29 years of age, and coming into Christmas of 2020, I had a suspected heart attack and stroke. I was in a position where I was unfit, unhealthy, 24 stone in weight, and I knew something had to change. And that's kind of the genesis of why I'm here and sharing that story.
All right, and what was your health like as a child? I mean, did you always carry extra weight?
I did. So I would have carried weight since I was a kid. Even I would have always been very heavy for my age. And those adolescent years, I would have always been up around 20 stone. But the real change for me was when COVID hit. So I'd moved from a position where at least I was out doing some sort of walking and had some choice around the stuff I was eating. But when COVID hit, I was at home. I was doing less than 500 steps a day, sitting working for 12, 14 hours, and food was just brought up to me. So I ballooned up to 24 stone at that point.
Were you eating a lot?
I was, yeah. So it's not a case. I think that's
is it eating 2 dinners, 3 dinners? Is it sweets, crisp snacks? Like what or sugary drinks? Like what do you need to be consuming to be 24 stone?
It's probably a combination of everything. What I found was I was eating like high calorie dense foods with like no nutritional value whatsoever. So like takeaways, things that are high in fat, there's not much to them in terms of the health wise. I wasn't exercising at all. So like walking to and from my car was as much exercise as I got. And then no self-care at all. So like even things like not moisturising, not going to the dentist, only going to the doctors is very specific. It was like a whole combination of things.
Were they symptoms of things, Wayne? Were you unhappy generally then?
Yeah, I'd say that's the key piece. If I think back and I'm looking at the journey I've come on, I had no self-care whatsoever. I had like a passive kind of a death wish that like I didn't care if I was here or not.
Did you love yourself?
No. So that's the big thing, right? So when this happened, this forced me then to look back and say, okay, how did I get into this position? Why am I where I am? And what I done was, so that was in the December of 2020. In the January, I started in counselling. So I went and I said, okay, I need to understand why I got this position, what happened.
Yeah, but what was the moment that sort of, was it the health scare? Like, what was the moment that sort of said that, you know, you go from a position whereby, you know, there's no self-care, there's certainly no self-love, to not really maybe caring what the consequences might be, to sort of all of a sudden saying, right, I need to get a handle on this. Was it all yourself? Did anyone intervene?
It was the health scare was the big thing, and that's why I say it kind of moved from me realising it was a passive death wish to realising it was an active one then. So it was that point at 29 years of age, being forced with your own mentality. And I have a wife and 2 kids at home as well. So like they were the big driver in everything I had done and all I had done to get to the point I was at in terms of my work, my success, everything. And then suddenly thinking, hold on, I might not be here for them. I need to understand why. And that's where it started in that journey then of understanding, okay, why did I get to this point? How did I get to this point? And how can I fix it then?
So what did you go to counselling for then? Well, let's talk about the health scare first and foremost. You believed in 2020, December 2020, 2 years from now, which is really quite remarkable. I don't like commenting on people's appearances, but it's clear that you are, half the man you used to be.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of the conversation. It's the only reason I would even mention that. But, what was it to do with your weight, and what were you diagnosed with?
Yeah, so the health, what had happened, so it took a couple of weeks. I was in the hospital. What they found was I had cardiomyopathy, which I picked up from my biological dad, who passed away from it. It was undiagnosed and was picked up in his post-mortem. So I had one heart condition. I had a dilated aortic root, so that's caused by poor lifestyle choices, high blood pressure. They found damage from the stroke in my brain, and I have a growth that's pressing on my optical nerve that causes issues with vision. So very significant things in terms of all of those need medication, they need close monitoring, and they need surgical intervention at some point going into the future.
But at that point though, you could have said, well, there you go, self-fulfilling prophecy. I knew I wasn't going to last very long. Who cares? You could even start feeling, well, maybe we'll be better off without me. You don't know. Now, I'm not suggesting that you, because that maybe makes it sound like I'm trying to frame this as you had suicidal thoughts. I'm not suggesting that for a second. But, it's very easy to give up and go, right, okay, well, there's the list of things that's wrong with me. Well, so be it. But obviously then you look to the family, you look to yourself, and you thought, no, actually,
exactly.
this is the time. I've a Y in the road here, and I'm going to choose this path.
That's it. I want to be here. Before that, I'd seen my only role in this world was to provide for Grace and the children.
Yeah.
And I had a significant life insurance policy as well. So in my mind, whether I was alive or dead, they were provided for, so it didn't matter whether I was here or not. But it was that moment of stopping that, hold on, I can be more than just a provider. I want to be here, not just for Grace and the kids and provide and be a dad and be there to support, but for other people as well. So it was like, okay, I can go down that path and just completely self-destruct and lean into it, or I can make the changes. And I like things to be inside of my control, right? So I knew those things like the cardiomyopathy, the aorta, the brain thing. I can't control those, right? They're outside. This is happening now. It's done. But what I can control is my diet, my eating, my exercise, and the medication. So I can bring that inside of my control and feel like I have some control over what's happening. And that's what I decided to do then. Coming into that January, I said, right, okay, I'm going to take control of this. And I started eating right. I started exercising. I started walking. Doing small things. As I said, I wouldn't have walked the length of myself before. But I signed up for an app called Go Conquer. And what you do is you pick a virtual trail. So I walked around Egypt. I walked to the top of Mount Everest. I walked the Ring of Kerry. I walked the Inca Trail. And I added the steps day by day. And I get a medal in the post then at the end of it. So it's here's a sense of achievement.
Now, you haven't walked anywhere near those places.
No, but all virtually. So it tracks up.
Exactly,
and it gives you a little postcard and says, this is how far you are on the journey.
So, but just to go back a little bit, because the psychology of this, I think, really is quite interesting, right? You could have began to walk a little bit or changed your eating habits when you were overweight. Do you know how we put barriers in front of ourselves to stop ourselves doing something, right? So let's put to one side the fact that, this is the way it's going to be or whatever. So there are times that you're going to say, right, I'm going to start walking now. Do you know what? I really need to look at my diet. I'm sure that happened. What barriers did you put up in front of yourself that stopped you making that progress before early 2021?
So I'm very hyper-focused, right? So if I pick something, I focus on that to the detriment of everything else. Everything else falls away. And the big thing where I got my sense of self-worth was my career. So my career was something that was very important to me. And working is something that I've always got that sense of fulfillment from. So my parents were very hard workers, but we grew up in a home where there wasn't much money. It's something I was very acutely aware of as a child. So that was always in my head. I wanted to get out there and earn and be able to take some of that burden off of my family. Even at the age of 10, I used to go to garden fetes, buy books and sell them door to door. I remember finding a pheasant on the roadside one day and going down and selling it to my principal for €5. So Mrs. Galler, if you're listening, I hope you didn't eat that pheasant.
Did you tell her where it came from?
I did not. I said, here's a pheasant.
Hey, listen, roadkill is actually not... It's okay to eat.
Yeah, it's a delicacy in some parts of the world.
Exactly.
So I was tied up in that career focus I wanted to achieve. I got my first job at the age of 12. So shout out to Mr. Chippy here locally, gave me a shout in the kitchen at 12. And I was so proud of that job. I was so proud to take that burden off my mum and dad and be able to work and earn and look after myself. From that point, I was independent. I paid for all my own school books, my uniforms, everything. And I got that sense of worth from it. And that sense of work ethic, and it followed me then. So 2008 hit, recession was here. I said, okay, I need to make a change. And I decided I wanted to do something else. And like any man who changes his life completely, there's a woman involved here somewhere. So Grace, my now wife, that was the person I met and said, look, I don't want to be in the kitchen 14 hours a day. I want to use my brain. At the time, my favourite TV show was The Office, the one with Ricky Gervais. And I was like, oh, I want to work in an office. But what do people actually do in there? I've no idea. Nor do I now. I do work in an office, but I still don't know what people do. I'll get into that. And retrained and went back to college through the ETB. But I kept that. My sense of identity was tied up in what I was doing, what I was achieving, my role, my grades, and that stayed with me. So my career went on this fantastic trajectory. So I started in Allstate in Strabane, promoted 3 times. In Primerica, promoted 3 times. Then I went to Dublin because I wanted things to feel real. I felt I wanted to run with the bulls and be that hustle and bustle. Done 9 months in Dublin, fantastic. And then Optum rang me out of the blue here in Letterkenny. Optum have been fantastic to me. They give me every opportunity to grow. I've been promoted 4 times in there and got the role of associate director last year, which was a huge achievement for me. That was my 10-year plan, something to get. And it was phenomenal. The people around me in there, the people who supported me, like Paul Phelan, Matthew McNamee, done so much for me over those years. And that's where I was tied, was like, okay, this is what I need to do, and I focus on this 100%. I had someone very special in Optum. I just want to give a shout out to her, Jeanette Peoples. She's the person who turned the light on for me. She made me think and believe in myself. So thank you, Jeanette. Like, where I am today wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you. So I had everything tied up in that sense of identity and what I wanted to do. So I wasn't looking at anything else.
And that completely masked any desire to get fit or lose weight.
Yeah, I'd always justify it or not even like spend.
Well, that's what I was talking about, the barriers you put in front of you, because I just want people to, because we've all been there, right? So you would go, I can't do that today because I need to focus on that.
Yeah, I want to work.
Right.
I want to get this project out. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to prove that I'm the best person for this. No one else can do it like me. And I want to keep that focus on at all times. So that's the way I was excusing it. That's what I was saying, right, this is it. If I focus on this. So
then, right, okay, and you go into counselling, right? So you've had to fundamentally change, presumably, because, and we'll talk about your weight loss, if you lose 11.5 stone and you keep on with the same ideology and use a short place of time, well then the old Wayne presumably then would have to have neglected work or neglected family life or neglected something else that you were tunnel visioned on previously. So you had to change yourself. Presumably a great deal personality-wise then.
100%.
If that's a trend of personality. But
it was getting the balance back, right? Because when I'm focused on one thing, it's to the detriment of everything else. But what I wanted to do was have a balanced life here. So I want to say, right, work is still very important to me. I still get that sense of satisfaction, so I need to balance that. I want to be there for Grace and the kids. I need to balance that. And I need to be there for Wayne, and I need to balance that.
So what did the counsellor, what was it, specific type of counselling? Well, what counselling did you seek out?
So I wasn't specific. I was looking for someone who had general counselling, life coaching, career guidance, so like the whole bucket, so I could work through it. And we just went in, and it wasn't a case of, and like that's the thing, like my idea of counselling was like watching The Sopranos.
Are you sure the counsellor helped you, or you just didn't bounce your plan off the counsellor?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Well, the counsellor's there to listen, right?
No, but I think it might be. I think you had a plan, but you needed to bounce it off someone.
Yeah, to get that buy-in
it
and make sure it was good. And the difference, like my idea of counselling was like watching Sopranos, and you have that aha moment, and suddenly everything makes sense. But that's not the way it works. No. It's like understanding you and why you're there and what you can do to help guide it. What I realised through those sessions was like there's that monster inside of me that's driven and it wants something, it goes and gets it to the detriment of everything else, and that's not going to go away. That's always going to be there. So how can we put reins around it then to make sure what it's pointing to is like sustainable and it's not going to destroy everything else? So it was getting that balance right then, right? Focus it, balance it, have it on a couple of different things, not singular focus, and take it from there. And it was just day by day. So this is the thing. So I've lost weight in the past before. So, you know, and it's normally event driven. So like you're going on your holidays or there's a wedding coming up and you do Slimming World.
You know you can do it if you put your mind to it. Anyway.
Yeah. So you jump in and you do it. But every time once the event was over, you go back to the same habits and you end up gaining more weight down on top of it. So when I set out on this journey in January of 2021, this was not a weight loss journey. This was a journey of understanding who I am and starting to love myself and making the right decisions by me. And that's what I said.
But you must have, when you see, this is, you talk about loving yourself, okay, but you must have loved yourself, part of yourself, or you couldn't. What else would motivate you? You know, I mean, of course, you've got family, but it sounds to me like your career, you tested yourself in a place, and maybe at that point you felt, well, how can I grow here? You go somewhere else, you test yourself there. You want to see what it's like. That has to be for you. That was for you.
Yeah. But it was never realising, Greg, that's the thing. I always pushed that sense of achievement or satisfaction just that little bit out of reach.
Yeah.
So I'd set the goals, and as soon as I get there, I'd move it straight away.
Or maybe they were never obtainable either. Maybe
that's the thing. Like putting them so far away, you think you'll never get there, because it was like as soon as I ever got close, I just move it. So it's not a case of like reaching your goal and then change it. I never got to it because I moved it straight away right before.
Okay, so you could never really truly allow yourself absolute success then,
or gratitude or sense of achievement or anything else.
Okay, so it's on to the next thing. Right, so then, you know, the counselling starts in January 2021, isn't that correct? And then over the course of the next 9 months, you lose 11.5 stone. So did you decide to start the weight loss at the same time as the counselling, or was it through counselling that you began to see the woods for the trees to take on the path of the weight loss? Because this is it's a dramatic weight loss.
And see, that's the thing. It was never a weight loss journey for me. It was looking after myself. So it was like seeing myself as someone who's worth caring about. And caring about yourself means that you're going to eat right, you're going to exercise, you're going to put a health regime in place, and you're going to do right. So I just started that piece by piece. I never had in my mind, right, I'm going to lose this amount of weight, or I'm going to do this. It's just look after myself every single day and just take it from there. So started doing the walking, done that until the March. Signed up for a boot camp in March with G8 Fitness because I was turning 30 and said I'll do that. I for the first 2 days I was vomiting after every boot camp, never done anything like it, but I don't give up, right, once I'm tied in.
Yeah.
Then I started in the gym, then I started playing football in the evenings, then I started doing things with Grace and the kids I never thought possible. So going out for walks, going to the beach, sea swimming, going to water parks, like having a life that I never thought was possible on the other side of it. I would have never contemplated that before. And the weight then just started to drop off just by natural. So I was getting fitter, I was getting healthier, I was eating right, making the right decisions, and then the weight just started to fall away. So I was never tracking it in the sense of, okay, I need to get to this goal and that's me. It was just keep doing right and I'll be good. And as you said, 9 months it took me to lose 11.5 stone, and I've maintained it now for the last 13 months. Still in that same position. Very expensive.
You know, when someone talks about how, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's a food addiction, whether it is or not, but someone talks about, you know, if you're an alcoholic or a gambler, I'm not grouping you in, but you always are. Yeah. Right, okay, so it is you have to make conscious decisions all of the time. When you lose that amount of weight and you've got a history of putting it back on again, you know, is it one day at a time, or can you actually think more long term?
No, 100%. It's one day at a time. Yeah. I need to make the right decisions getting up every day and think, okay, I need to do right by me. And it's back to the self care. So it's not just the food; it's everything. So I need to get up. If I said I'm going to the gym, I need to go to the gym. I'm going to moisturise. I'm going to go to the doctor when I need to. It's every day making that conscious decision.
So what's your motivation for that, though?
Being here and helping. Like, that's the big thing coming through this. Like, I want to be here for Grace. I want to be here for the kids. I want to be more than just a provider for them. And I want to be able to help others. It's that sense of achievement I get around, like, see when you know and you recognise what you've gone through yourself, you can see it in other people then. You can see when someone needs someone to talk to or might need a little bit of support. And being able to give that and go out there and have those conversations, like, means the world to me now. So it's sharing that experience and saying, look, you're not in it alone. Because at 24 stone, I always thought it's never going to be me.
I presume there has to be some relationship between the health conditions you talked of and weight and outcomes, potential operations that you may have to have. You know, you are going to be healthier and reduce any risk that might be there as well. I mean, that also, you know, I know stuff's out of your control, but to some extent, you're being healthier and stronger and lighter. To some extent, you have some control over the potential outcomes of whatever you might have to go through down the line.
The ability to influence the risk.
Have you started? I mean, this is also recent. Like, have you started actually working with people yet?
So I do. So that's the thing. So Train with Wayne and starting that business was something I decided the middle of this year down as something I want to do to give back. And my inspiration behind that was to be able to help and share my knowledge, my experience, not just on the health front, but on my professional journey as well.
Is part of it as well. And this is not to in any way dilute or detract from the fact that you want to help other people.
Yeah.
Is this Wayne's way too, though, of keeping you on the straight and narrow? In other words, you can't let other people down, that you have to stick to what you've committed to, because you're committing to other people that you will.
Well, there's a great psychological argument for that. It's what we call social contracts. So if you really want to do something, go out there and keep telling people you're going to do it, because it forms that social contract. So by doing this and like saying that, right, okay, I want to be this beacon of strength for people to look to me, it also solidifies me to keep me on track every day. Because as I said, I need to get up every morning, look at that man in the mirror and say, I'm going to do good by you today. And come back and say, I did do good by you today at the end of the day as well.
Right, so how do you work with people then? Are you still with the company?
Yeah, so Optum, I'm still working on Optum. So Train with Wayne is kind of like a hobby of mine that I picked up on the side then to get that balance right. So still in Optum, still fantastic company to work for. So big shout out to them and what they've done for me over the years. And on the side, what I'm doing is, so there's multiple fronts with the Train with Wayne. So I developed content and shared it on Udemy. So I've content out there if someone wants help creating a business plan, someone wants help creating a resume, working with data, different things like that.
So the majority of this is access to pre-recorded. I know you do some one-on-one stuff, but is the majority of what you do, because of time and what have you, pre-prepared stuff that you've researched, that you know works, that you've employed, that you are really tooling people?
That's exactly it. So giving them those skill sets. And also I have a social media presence where I share leadership lessons. So every week I'll release a new lesson of something I learned from my career. And that's something then to give back and say, look, I learned this, someone else can learn from it as well. And like the big thing for me is it's not about like the financial or the commercial success of this. It's the feeling of achievement I get when someone comes up and says, hey, I used that template and I got a job from what you shared with me. That's fantastic. Or someone saying that video was really inspirational and talked to me last week.
There's a cost to some of this. Some of the courses and what have you are down to $12.99, but I think when something's free, there's disadvantage to that as well. I mean, I don't think it's a high price point. I'm not sure if it's recurring or whatever. You can talk about that. But I think really, sometimes there has to be a transaction to lock people into a significant change in their lives.
100%. And that's where, so if someone's looking for something beyond that, like generic training content that's out there and it's worked 100 times, the one-to-one coaching is something I offer through Train with Wayne as well. So we can sit down and plan, right, Greg, for you, what's your career aspirations, what's your goals, where do you want to get to? And we put a development plan in place there to get there. And then we've check-ins and guidance then throughout a 12-month period to make sure you're achieving it. So there's that option there. But I get the point. I think if you give something away for free, it's almost taking the value away from it. But it's putting a price point in there so someone has to be serious and say, right, I'm going to commit this in some way because there's a financial aspect.
It can't be a casual decision. You have to consider it. And how do you focus someone's mind other than on... So and it's obviously it's the health side of things, the business side of things, but I think a lot of this stuff is it's the same. It's the same skill sets, the same parts of the brain that you use. I was talking to someone recently about how people become successful. If you don't inherit something, how do you accumulate wealth? A lot of us, and I'm the person here, I will be lucky if I leave behind me a house that's not got a mortgage on it, right? Yeah. But I know other people who they speculate to accumulate. They'll take chances. They'll take risks. They'll see something that's going on. They'll leverage again. But it is what's within the individual that is the difference between different types of people 100%. And what you leave behind or what you're happy to leave behind you.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. So one of the psychologists I listen to is Jordan Peterson, and his big thing is, for you, it's not about you doing your fair share. It's about you doing the share you're capable of doing. And that share is different for everyone, what they're capable of doing. And that's what I try and do. I try and do my best for me. So I'm not competing against anyone else, anyone out there. It's who was I yesterday, and am I better than who they are, and I'm going to be better tomorrow than who I was today. And it's having that drive then to go out and make the difference and take the risks. Like putting yourself out there is a risk on social media. Like people might not like it or the backlash you get, but it's there with that inspiration of, okay, how can I share? How can I be there for others? How can I inspire someone else? Is there a benefit here for someone and what I've gone through to stop them having to take the same scars, the same beatings, but get to the same outcome from it?
Yeah, okay. People can search Train with Wayne, and as I say, there's a list of stuff that you offer there right across the various disciplines, but people's health, and it's in the context of your the change. Do you have goals of running marathons or climbing Kilimanjaro or what way do you?
No, so taking it day by day. So I had a couple of like major things, like fears around like swimming in the sea, jumping off piers, and I've ticked off like my bucket list of stuff I wanted to do over the last year. So like I'm in the position now where it's not about any big aspirational goals, but taking it day by day and making sure that I'm the best person I am today. I'm better than I was yesterday, and I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today. It's keeping that focus.
Yeah. And it's funny because different people will it has to be what's the next big thing, what's the next great challenge, and sometimes I wonder, is it? It's up to each individual, but I just wonder sometimes if that in itself is something that needs to be looked at. If you know what I'm on about, like if you're like it's. I mean, obviously you can be just really ambitious and want to change the world and all that kind of stuff, but there's a here and now as well.
Yeah,
you know,
there's
a here and now at the moment. What makes you happy now? Are you happy today?
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, maybe tomorrow see what's happening, but 6 months, I don't know. But then for some people, maybe that's a really positive thing.
And that's the huge shift for me, Greg. On that front, I was always future focused, and that focus was always that little bit out of reach. Where today, I'm happy in the day and being grateful for what I done today and what I'm planning to do tomorrow.
What do you think of body positivity?
That's a bit. You have to love yourself, is the thing.
Yeah,
right?
but what do you think about, you know, that in society nowadays we have to step on eggshells when we talk about weight because we have, you know, body. You know, it's not positive. I can't remember the phrase I'm looking for, but whereby you'll have plus side models on the front of catalogs, or you will have it's my. You know, even though there might be health consequences, it's my body. It's none of your business. Respect who I am. Don't comment on it.
Yeah.
What do you think of that stuff?
I agree. So I was 24 stone, very visual. Someone telling me that I was overweight and fat would not have made it but one blind bit of difference. We have to come to the realisation ourselves that this isn't a good place to be and ask why we're there. Someone else having it is only going to have detrimental effects on your own mental health and your own self-image and won't push you to do it. You won't do it for anyone else. You won't do it for how does that person think of me or see me. You can only do it for yourself. So I think those negative connotations and what happens around that only serves to perpetuate the problem. You know, getting depressed, eating more, being more of a recluse because of it. So I think they're very negative stereotypes then.
So you lost your weight, good diet, certainly at the beginning, moderate exercise, and then of course you ramped it up. That's it. There's no secret.
No secret sauce. That's the thing. People ask, "Oh, how did you do it?" And it's just diet and exercise.
You feel you have to constantly say, "Well, I didn't get a gastric band." There's no shame in that, but I mean, I presume people will presume. Maybe we have no faith in each other as humans, presume that you'd have to have had a medical intervention to achieve
and
such.
See, I did contemplate it, right? So I'm all about my data, my research. And when I started and thought, right, okay, in that journey, what can I do? And I looked at what was out there. So I looked at medications around, like there's tablets you can take, injections you can take, there's a gastric band. And I considered a gastric band, but I went to see a psychologist and talked around like where I was in it and decided from that it wasn't for me, because that's a very extreme decision to make.
It's like on maintenance as well too.
Exactly. And I enjoy my food. So I did used to be a chef for many years. So like that's a big part of what I do, and I like doing it, and I felt like I'm going to restrict that as well. And
it's amazing the amount of people who, I don't know, amazing amount of people, I'm probably overstating it, but one of the regrets after such an operation for some people I've spoken to on this program and heard elsewhere is they didn't realise that they could not eat as much as they used to, that they couldn't eat. So in other words, they didn't have the ability to have a blowout and then, you know, pull it back. You know what I mean? So that's a lot to sacrifice.
It is, and that's the decision I came to. Food is a big part of what I enjoy, and it's where I like. I'm a foodie as well. Like I like finding new things and discovering it, and I didn't want to take that part away. So I decided I'll do it piece by piece. I'll start the journey here, and I'll take it day by day.
Yeah. And do you have any comment? Someone wants to know. Do you have any comment on people that, like, say for instance, someone asked about Lizzo, for example. She's I don't know if she's overweight. I don't know how she defines herself. But she's celebrated for being who she is. Do you have a take on that? I mean, do you have a concern that she might be a bad role model, or do you think it's live and let live? I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's on their own journey.
No one can have this conversation, by the way, because they're afraid of upsetting someone. But at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own individual opinions.
And everyone's on their own journey is the thing. I don't cast aspersions or judge anyone because of the size they are or what.
But you are an influencer.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're making decisions to influence people in the way you are. Are other people, such as Lizzo, influencing people in a way that you can make a strong argument is detrimental to your health if you just go, I'm who I am?
And I think if we're in that destructive behaviour to like eating to excess, drinking to excess, taking drugs, we'll always find a way to justify it, whether there's someone out there in the media or not. We'll have that narrative in our own mind that, okay, well, this person does it, so I'm fine, and I can do what this person does.
Again, we're looking outwards rather than inwards.
Exactly. We'll always find a way to justify it and say, and almost like, oh, if they're bigger than I am, I'm fine. I'm fine the way I am. So it has to start with you.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, actually. And it's not just in this area, it's right across the board.
Yeah.
Right, okay. People can search out Train with Wayne. And it's kind of interesting. The train is a double purpose because there's a business element to it and a health element to it as well.
That's the thing. I do have to keep correcting people because they've seen I've lost a weight. This is not a personal training service.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll work to your advantage once you've told everybody in the world that asks the same question.
Yeah, close that out. That piece.
I mean?
Yeah.
It'll just look clever then rather than confusing. All right, okay. Best of luck with the future.
Brilliant, Greg. Thank you very much.
And we really appreciate your time this morning. All right, that is Wayne Bowden there. If you're interested in his story and the courses he has to offer and what have you, search out Train with Wayne. We'll be back with more on this programme after we take a break.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. With all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas. McGee's, delivered to your door, or you can collect in store.
There's still time to give the gift of discovery this Christmas. So give the gift of an overnight escape or a meal they're sure to remember in that place they love or the one they'd love to try. Support Irish businesses and buy a voucher for one of Ireland's amazing hotels or restaurants today. Brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
Have you taken out a commercial lease on a property such as a business property, shop unit, factory or agricultural land? Have you registered details of that commercial lease with the Property Services Regulatory Authority, the PSRA? If not, you may be breaking the law. Tenants of commercial leases are legally required to register the lease with the PSRA within 30 days of receipt of the related stamp certificate from the Revenue Commissioners. It's an offence not to. Remember, register details of your commercial lease online now at psr.ie.
Nutria's winter feed offers now available at your local Homeland store. Buy 10 bags, get one free when purchasing Nutria's Pre-Carver ATP nut or Nutria's Next Gen Heifer ATP. €10 off per tonne. Also available on bulk orders. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrias.ie for full product details.
McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing and Tiles, serving the Northwest for over 40 years. Explore our showroom with more than 40 displays. Choose from an array of shower doors, shower trays, baths and bathroom accessories. Speak with an expert about tile selection and wall paneling. We also stock an array of plumbing, heating and stove spare parts, as well as a great selection of kitchen mixers and radiators at our trade counter. Our stove department is also available for you to choose a style that suits your needs and complements your home. McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing, Tiles, Buncrana. We're here for you.
Century Complex gift cards are the perfect gift this Christmas. Our gift cards can be used throughout the complex in Backstage Bar and Grill, Century Cinemas and Century Play. Available in store at Century Complex. Call us on 074 912 1976 or check out our website centurycinemas.ie for more information.
The Christmas Grinners Baby It's Cold Outside, featuring David Nopoves as Sinatra and a fantastic cast of West End singers performing classic Christmas hits. The Alley Theatre on Friday 16th of December. A romantic show full of festive cheer. Tickets £20. Book now at alley-theatre.com.
For all your home heating needs, oil, gas and solid fuels. National Fuels, Pierce Road, Letterkenny. 9137 400. National Fuels, bringing you the time at...
All right, the time is... Oh, my word, it's 10:37. Let me see...
So, Max, whatever you're doing for your birthday, enjoy it. Hope you get loads of cards, loads of presents, loads of...
You just spoke over me hearing the answer. It's 11:37. Sorry. Thanks, Caroline. So that is the Say What competition. We have got a €100 voucher for you for the Inshone Gateway Hotel and a daily prize for you. So what is the missing word? Text in your answers right now to 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps or text. Tell me the missing word. This is from Saturday Rewind with Rory.
So, Max, whatever you're doing for your birthday, enjoy it. Hope you get loads of cards, loads of presents, loads of...
Now, I actually don't know the answer to that, even though I recorded it, but I've forgotten. So I'll play it one more time. I know it might be a little bit annoying, but I want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to enter. Listen.
So, Max, whatever you're doing for your birthday, enjoy it. Hope you get loads of cards, loads of presents, loads of...
All right, text the answer to 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts, and your name and where you're from as well. And hopefully we'll get you on a little later on after we speak to Kieran O'Donnell ahead of Business Matters, the podcast. That's after these.
Customise your Christmas cards or create a photo book using photos from your smartphone or Facebook at mcgees.ie or in store on Main Street, Letterkenny. Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
The countdown is on. Are you in Highland Radio's biggest ever competition? Have you bought that lucky ticket? If not, hurry. There's only 10 days to buy your ticket and be in with a chance of winning a brand new Nissan Juke worth over €30,000 and 3 chances to win €1,000 in cash this Christmas, right here on Highland Radio. Visit highlandradio.com and click on Win a Car. Entry closes at 11 a.m. on Friday, 23rd of December, 2022.
Hello, Dream Inspector. 50 grand. Got it. Wait, 10 winners of 50 grand each every Tuesday and Friday? So every Euro Millions draw till Christmas is guaranteed 10 Irish winners of 50 grand each?
10 Ireland-only raffle winners of €50,000 guaranteed in every Euro Millions draw till Christmas. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun. All Euro Millions Ireland-only raffle draws until December 23rd.
Mike Denver in concert with guests Brendan Shine and Philomena Begley at the Mount Erical Hotel, Letterkenny on January 6th and Millennium Forum Derry on March 18th. Tickets now on sale at both venues and ticketmaster.ie. That's Mike Denver with Philomena Begley and Brendan Shine in Letterkenny and Derry. The perfect Christmas gift.
Here's how to make your Christmas dinner amazing this year. Just add some amazing Aldi value. With fresh old turkeys from $9.99 on sale from December 20th. Half horseshoe ham from $12.99 on sale now. Both 100% Irish and board beer quality assured. 6 delicious deep-filled mince pies, just 89 cents. And grapevine Pinot Grigio, only $4.99. Well, it's the season of good cheer. So, cheers. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Get the facts, be drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie.
The choices we make determine where we're going. Where will your choices take you? Visit Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles and join the thousands of Irish drivers who swap diesel for Toyota Hybrid Electric, lowering their emissions and fuel costs. We've Ireland's widest hybrid electric range, including the Toyota CHR and Yaris Cross. Don't miss out. Order today at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world.
Hi, I'm Angela. Are you on a date that isn't working out? Is your online date not who they said they were? Does it all feel a bit weird? Do you feel like you're not in a safe situation?
If you answer yes to any of these questions the next time you are out socialising, go to the bar and ask for Angela. The bar staff will know you need some help getting out of your situation, and they will help you out discreetly, without too much fuss. Wherever you see the Ask for Angela signs or posters, know that the establishment supports the Ask for Angela campaign.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. Looking for a career in financial services? Consider the Level 9 MA in Governance and IT in Financial Services. Take the next step in your career and contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email execed, EXECED at ATU.ie today.
All right, welcome along to the programme. Welcome into studio, Kieran O'Donnell. Kieran, thank you very much for joining us. How are you keeping?
Good, great.
All right, let's get some news before we talk about the podcast, which is live for you now on our website and across Spotify and iTunes. The Shandon. I was in the Shandon at the weekend, actually. It was beautiful, lovely. Through that Christmas.
Do you have a spa?
That Christmas experience. No, I didn't. I didn't have a spa, and I could get into the reasons why. I had intentions of going into the pool, but 2-year-olds have a way of sort of deciding what you do.
I've been there.
At 6:30 in the morning. But anyway, another top award for the spa.
Yeah, the Shannon Spa at the Shannon Hotel in Dunfanny won the best resident spa in Ireland at an awards ceremony in Dublin at the weekend. So the Shannon closed in 2011 and went into receivership and was purchased at an auction in 2015 by London-based businessman Warren McCarthy. It has since reopened with an initial recruitment in 2016 of 55 staff under their general manager, Karen Harrison.
All right, congratulations everyone. 81% increase in hospitality insolvencies. Now, is this off a low base or?
Yeah, well, we'll draw on the figures a bit more here,
Yeah.
Greg. Over 500 corporate insolvencies have been recorded in Ireland in 2022 to date, and that is according to the latest insolvency statistics published by Deloitte. This represents a substantial increase of almost 30% from 2021, when the total number of corporate insolvencies recorded was 401. So there has been a 28% decrease in construction insolvencies despite increased cost of materials, where there's also been an 81% increase in hospitality insolvencies, which is a very high figure.
Yeah, indeed, it sure is, and hopefully it doesn't become a trend. A major award heading towards a Moville-based company.
Yeah, Silver Strand Rope Works Limited in Moville has been named as the Best Established Donegal Enterprise Award at the Overall Enterprise Award at just the week before last. The Silver Strand Rope Works. There's Silver Strand Rope Works is a rope, string and strapping manufacturing business that is run by Patrick McLaughlin, and it offers a wide range of products to both local and international markets.
Come here, you just nearly gave up there. I do that sometimes, you know. I look down at the sentence and I go, this is not going to come out of my mouth, you know. But you know what, Kieran? You're a better man than me. Because you stuck with it. But I was with you in a moment where you said, shall I bother?
I think between enterprise and overall enterprise and awards,
I know, and a Silver Strand Rope Works is a rope string and strapping manufacturing. Well done. Hey, but listen, fair play to the company for what they do. 53 new jobs full Falcara, which is significant in these times, no doubt. It's significant in any time, sorry.
Yeah, Cora, China and Falcara, and they trade as Celsius, is to create 53 new jobs, and this has come about with the help of Udris na Gaeltachta investment. So Celsius manufactures wireless temperature control technology for the food and retail sector.
You can see the practical implications, applications for that, of course. Now, certain areas struggling to hire. We know the situation in hospitality and other areas. Farm workers also difficulties in that regard.
Yeah, 66% of farmers are finding it hard to get workers, while 75% said getting workers with farming skills is also difficult, and that's according to research conducted by Farm Relief Services. They've described the situation as severe, and more work permits are needed for agricultural workers to come from abroad. Many Irish farms are 365-day operations, and there's a constant need for hired help. So they're looking abroad. Greg, I've noticed this on the news there even last week, to hire and help from abroad to try and let them or make them keep up with their day-to-day chores.
All right, we're going to preview this week's podcast, Business Matters, after this break.
Have a photo book printed for Christmas using your own selected images, titles and text at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Proud sponsors of the 9 till Noon show.
With the ongoing war in Ukraine affecting the cost of energy, many of us are facing a challenging winter. Through Budget 23, government is introducing a range of supports to lessen the financial impact on families, households and businesses, and will continue to monitor the situation in the coming months to protect those in difficulty. It's important that everyone stays warm and well, but where safe and possible to do so, reducing energy use can also reduce bills. Changes like turning your thermostat down by 1 degree and considering how often you use energy-intensive appliances like tumble dryers can make a big difference. For information on available supports and energy-saving advice, visit gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Fiche blina fós. Cá dór for daig. Tá gnára down. Ober nifig nu a salon. Nu tá rawa da aigahort an arm. Taréis do chud tréála is féidir céir de ólam, skillan a ríomhreachta, fianas haar sáile. Tahi a ónan dostorialan ar haintu ar aig a ríis. Má tá daig an sail sin, tá tarmig lachad daoine isteach faoi láthair. Mar sin, military.ie, agus a raig leat. Le Hoaglig na Heron.
Louis Walsh Opticians, the longest established opticians in Letterkenny, welcome new and existing customers alike, offering the latest brands with glasses to suit all budgets and styles, private, medical card and PRSI patients. For your next eye test, contact Louis Walsh Opticians at Mount Southwell Place, Letterkenny, 91 21000.
The award-winning warehouse bar and kitchen, Main Street Letterkenny, has your Christmas all wrapped up. There's no better place to celebrate this Christmas with festive cocktails, bottomless brunch, Christmas food, drinks and much more. Letterkenny's best lit bar is your party destination this festive season with great live music and DJs throughout December. Book your table now at Warehouse Bar and Kitchen.
Get to Meehan's of Rathfoe. Large selection of slim, straight and bootcut jeans from €35. Also men's shirts and polo shirts in sizes up to 6XL. Plus a large range of diesel hoodies, half zips and body warmers at Meehan's of Rathfoe. Christmas gift vouchers available.
Whatever the weather, Christmas shopping in Letterkenny will brighten your December. The Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
All right, now let me see what the weather forecast is here for you. And it's the same story. Hopefully we'll get some respite soon. Widespread frost and icy conditions will persist through the rest of the week, with any occasional showers potentially falling as sleet or snow. Tonight could be particularly cold, by the way, dependent where you are. And travel to work might be even more complicated tomorrow to work or wherever you're going. It's not always work. It could be going to care for someone or school or whatever it might be. Right, okay, Kieran O'Donnell joins us in studio, remains in studio with us now. We're talking about this week's podcast. Who's your guest this week?
Yeah, two guests this week, Greg. I'll be joined by the co-owner of Evolve Clothing in Letterkenny, Mark McCluskey, and Erical College teacher David McHale. So last month saw the opening of the STEM and coding lab at Erical College, and David is a coding, geography and English teacher, and is also digital learning coordinator, and the driver behind this initiative has been Optum, who they've entered into a 5-year sponsorship programme with the company just based beside them. So in this clip, David gives a rundown of what is contained in the STEM lab.
So we have 28 computers here. They link in and they connect with the STEM lab. So the STEM lab is 3 mobile trolleys. They're fully secure. Just in terms of the technology we have in them, it's quite expensive. It's a big investment. We have a couple of hand tools that can assist students if we're designing something. With we have a CNC router there and a laser machine. So the students would design on the computer. So there's the design process maybe that we're trying to look at. They design it on the computer, they draw it up, and then they send it over the network wirelessly to the CNC machine. Then we have a 3D printer, which I think is the main kind of buzz thing in here. Students they love it. They're always dreaming up new things to print on it. It's constantly in use. And then we have a vacuum former, which is for making molds. So that would be a new area for me. Like, I wouldn't have much expertise in that, but I kind of had to push myself on to pick up the skills as I went along as well, and the other teachers in the coding department. So we're all kind of upskilling in this process as well.
Yeah, you just feel sometimes that it's all going past you, Kieran, in terms of the advances and what have you.
Yeah, look, it was great to actually...
Talk about me, no, not you, by the way.
To see just exactly what a STEM lab and coding lab is. It's a far cry from my recollections of secondary school classrooms, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great. Look, it's given students an opportunity, I suppose, to sort of... help them realise their potential and their interest, and maybe get ahead of the game when it comes to maybe their leaving cert and where they plan to go, maybe for third level, or where to train or where to get employment in.
All right, let's talk about Evolve, which has gone through its evolution, of course, since its inception, Kieran.
Yeah, Mark McCluskey opened Evolve at Letterkenny Retail Park with his brother JP in 2008. They relocated to a larger unit, and the current store is now over 9,000 square feet. Evolve has shipped goods to 70 different countries so far in 2022, and has also won the Fashion and Footwear Website of the Year award for 2022. Here, Mark recalls getting the shop up and running 14 years ago.
I can remember a bit about the first day, to be honest. You know, I know we had about 2 or 3 staff. Some of the guys we built up relationships with. We had a rep that came up as well, who we still deal with today, Ash, and he worked on the floor with us. You know, in setting up the shop. Some of the guys who worked in other clothes shops with came in and helped us merchandise the shop and got it ready and all. Mickey McGorty and them sort of guys. And that was amazing, just, you know, for people to sort of come in behind you.
How important was it at that time that you could call on friends and trusted people to come in and back you and guide you?
Hi, it was great. So it was, because obviously we didn't have all the answers, and we still don't have the answers by any means. But yeah, there was always people there looking. I think the thing about myself and JP, we're never afraid to ask for help or, listen to other people, because we know we're definitely not the smartest person in the room. So that if we ask questions and learn off people that have been around, or read books, you're gaining experience that other people have built up.
Yeah, fascinating insight into the building of a business, and that's a particularly good example of a hybrid business too, isn't it? That physical space, that online space, and working both to your advantage, Kieran.
Yeah, and I suppose the one thing that struck me when I was talking to Mark was there's 5 of the family, 3 brothers, a sister and a brother-in-law, and there's 14 or 15 other staff outside of the family employed there as well. So it's quite a big operation when you consider all that, Greg.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Brilliant. Okay, full interviews with David and Mark available now on highlandradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Business Matters also goes out on air Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. And if people want to get in touch with you, Kieran,
just drop me
one second. I've taken your mic down. Go ahead.
Just drop me an email, please. businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Listen, thank you very much indeed for that. Right, we're going to take our last break a little bit early, and that'll clear the decks then to tidy up our competitions.
Fill your stocking this Christmas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of the 9 till noon show. McGee's.ie, or like us on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Did you see Fran's letter to Santa?
No. Dear Santa, I want a dolphin. Real one, please. And a donut as big as a car.
Dunnes Stores can make Christmas for almost everyone. Whether you dream of amazing food, a beautiful tree, or the presents underneath it, we've got you covered. Except for dolphins and car-sized donuts. We'll leave that to Santa. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores.
Hi, Pat Short here.
And Face Short over here.
I can see that.
They don't know.
Okay.
They can't see it.
We're here to tell you about our new show. Which is going to be in
and Greenland Theatre, Letterkenny, Saturday the 7th of January 2023. Tickets €30 at ongreenland.com. Save hundreds of euros on custom charges when doing your Christmas shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges this Christmas with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mizell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour with a brand new live show full of music, song and side-splitting laughter. See The Three Amigos live. Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny, Tuesday, January 3rd. Tickets priced €35 at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where additional fees may apply. A ticket for The Three Amigos live in concert is the ideal Christmas gift.
Happy Christmas from the Three Amigos!
Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Everything you want this Christmas in men's clothing and footwear at low prices and online at evolveclothing.com.
With something for everyone, the Villa Rose Hotel, Jackson's Hotel and Anchorage Hotel have Christmas all wrapped up. Our gift vouchers will impress, whether for sumptuous dining or Sunday lunch, a luxurious spa day or hotel break, perhaps even a health club membership. Take the hassle out of shopping and give the gift of choice at the click of a button with an online voucher from villarose.ie, jacksonshotel.ie or anchoragehotel.com.
This Christmas, millions of children across the world are suffering. Children in Somalia, Yemen and Ethiopia face starvation, but it shouldn't be this way. We have to do something. This Christmas, please go to unicef.ie to make a donation to help support children. Thank you.
Okay, now congratulations to Grace McDevitt in Annagry. Grace, you are the lucky winner today of a Marc Jacobs Perfect EDP spray. And you're also in the draw now for Friday's fantastic prize from McGee's Chemist, in which you could win a hamper worth over €500. Okay, that's that competition. Say, what is our next competition as well? Let's have a quick listen. To what the question was.
So, Max, whatever you're doing for your birthday, enjoy it. Hope you get loads of cards, loads of presents, loads of
PJ Costello in Greencastle, loads of what?
Cake, Greg.
Loads of cake, PJ, It's a great answer, but it's not the right answer. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to contend yourself with a beautiful 9 till noon mug for hot chocolate, coffee, tea. It's very versatile. PJ, thanks for entering. Enter again. We're running this for a couple of days going forward. But for now, PJ, unfortunately, it's the wrong answer.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. PJ, there was one or two got it correct, but we can't get through them on the phone, so we'll carry that over until tomorrow and we'll run it again. And don't forget, we have a fantastic prize for you. It's a €100 voucher for the Inishowen Gateway Hotel. Phone up the hotel too. They've got some fantastic offers in terms of gifts that you can give people for this Christmas. I'll remind you a little bit more of that tomorrow. Okay, that's where we have to leave it on the 9 till noon show today. Stay tuned though, John Breslin's coming up around the Northwest. But for me, Greg Hughes and Caroline O, who researched and produced the programme, and of course Donna Marie, also working on the show, have a wonderful day. All right, it's 12 o'clock. Let's get a news update and say good afternoon now to Michaela Clark.